Parallel World. Blue Star. Huaxia University of Science and Technology, a professor-level lecture on military theory. A thin, middle-aged man on stage was speaking passionately. For Huaxia to rise, the first thing is to wipe out that little basin chicken. We must abandon all illusions about Yingjiang's hegemonism. Artillery is not a decoration, but a tool to measure the land area of the country. The dignity of Huaxia people lies on the edge of the sword, and the truth between nations always lies within the range of cannons. The bold, hawkish speech drew strong reactions from the attending college students, with applause lasting for a long time. But many students remained silent throughout. Nowadays, under the advocacy of a group of public intellectuals and media, Huaxia has set off a wave of globalization fever. They believe Huaxia is closed and backward, only limiting the progress of talents, and only the democratic and beautiful Xinjiang is most suitable for talent development. Huaxia University is one of the top 3 universities in Huaxia. Some students were deeply influenced by these propaganda offensives, and many planned to leave immediately after graduation, escaping this dark land. These students, whether completely opposed to Professor A's radical views, basically sneered at them. The professor really spoke wonderfully. Lin Mo. In the front row, a sweet girl wearing large black-rimmed glasses applauded excitedly. Noticing the boy beside her with his head down and silent, she couldn't help asking, "Hey, Lin Mo, why aren't you clapping? What are you daydreaming about?" Looking at the familiar yet strange people and things around him, Lin Mo murmured, "Huaxia?" Not long ago, a vast amount of memory rushed into his brain, leaving his mind in a daze. After a long while, Lin Mo gradually accepted everything. Transmigration. It was actually transmigration. 2 hours ago, he was Lin Mo, the youngest senior researcher at the Chinese Academy of Sciences. He was leading a major military technology project called Project Stargate, staying up late for over 10 consecutive days, and finally collapsed in the aerospace fighter test field. The last memory was the urgent siren of the ambulance. And now he had become a senior student at Huaxia University of Science and Technology. On the podium, Ai Chongfeng looked at the sea of college students below. At least a third of them disdained to applaud. He sneered inwardly. He knew exactly what these people were thinking. The country spared no effort to cultivate them into talents, yet they ended up running off without any sense of guilt to serve the enemy. Some even felt the country had mistreated them. Now Huaxia, which had been on the fast track of rapid development, grew stronger day by day. After feeling threatened, Xinjiang across the ocean immediately showed its ugly face to maintain its hegemonic position. Yingjiang's attitude toward Huaxia quickly shifted from support and exploitation to suppression, denigration, technology blockade, and military threats, stopping at nothing. Led by Xinjiang, member states of the Western Alliance also joined the ranks of suppressing Huaxia. Coupled with years of relentless denigration by Western media, Huaxia appeared in the eyes of the general public as the darkest and most despicable country. The most absurd thing was that in matters of national destiny between countries, some highly educated young people, who should have become the pillars of Huaxia, considered themselves understanding the essence of the world and became the vanguards of smearing Huaxia. A bunch of high-sounding reasons in their stomachs, but in fact they are all egoists. But when Ai Chongfeng saw those students with excited faces, even standing up to applaud, he felt comforted again. Fortunately, there are still 2/3. This country still has its pillars. Just as he was about to continue the lecture, Ai Chongfeng noticed his student Lin Mo, sitting in the front row, also with his head down, saying nothing. Suddenly furious, "Lin Mo, stand up." As the applause faded within a few seconds, the huge conference hall fell dead silent. Hearing his mentor calling his name on stage, Lin Mo was slightly startled, then stood up. "You are my student. You kept your head down just now. Are you dissatisfied with my lecture today? Tell me your opinion." Ai Chongfeng spoke coldly. Many students behind began to whisper gloatingly. Offending anyone, but not the tyrant Ai. Now how would he graduate? Lin Mo saw the fury in Ai Chongfeng's expression and knew he was in trouble. He had just been sorting through memories of 2 lives and hadn't listened carefully, which apparently made this strict teacher misunderstand. Without time to think, Lin Mo organized his thoughts and spoke calmly. "Professor Ai, I didn't rest well last night, so I was a bit distracted in class. May I ask, do you want my opinion on Zaijiapinji or on the Xinjiang country?" Hearing the derogatory term Zaijiapinji, a glint of sharpness flashed in Ai Chongfeng's eyes, and his anger subsided a little. "Whatever you think, just say it." Lin Mo's thoughts raced. In the current parallel world, the historical development progress was roughly equivalent to Earth's 2012. Recalling the world patterns from before, Lin Mo stated, "I generally agree with Professor A's view, but I have some minor differences. I think Zaijiapinji and the first island chain are completely inadequate. The only threat is the Xinjiang country. However, Yingjiang's military deterrence will last only a few more years at most." As the words fell, the whole hall erupted in uproar. Does this classmate Lin Mo know what he is saying? Not only did he dismiss the country Xi Jinping ranked 6th in world military strength, but he also claimed Yingjiang's military deterrence couldn't last a few years. Did he know what one superpower and multiple strong powers meant? Did he know what Seoul hegemon meant? It was no longer a matter of being hawkish or not. Many felt that this classmate was either deliberately talking nonsense or his brain was really broken. Even Professor Ai Chongfeng on stage smiled. You kid, even more arrogant than me. We can brag, but we can't brag without a draft. Tell me, what is your reason? Lin Mo organized his thoughts and began. It's simple. The key factor to break through the island chain blockade is maritime military power. And we will have 1 or 2 domestically produced aircraft carriers going to sea within at most 5 years or at least 2 years. In addition, the Kufu carrier we purchased from Ermao should be repaired quickly. After it is delivered to the Navy, our offshore and medium-range military strength will greatly increase. Combined with land-coordinated operations from the eastern and southern military regions, by that time the first island chain in the South Sea will naturally be a mere formality. As Lin Mo finished speaking, the students began to discuss among themselves. Can such things be said casually? Currently, Huaxia didn't even have a single aircraft carrier, yet he dared to say that within 5 years Huaxia could build domestic carriers. Even some military experts bragging on media wouldn't dare to brag like that. But Ai Chongfeng on the stage changed his expression. Others didn't understand, but as an insider he naturally knew. What Lin Mo said was true. But this information was absolutely classified. How did Lin Mo know? Just as he was about to change the subject, a male student couldn't help but stand up and loudly refute Lin Mo. Classmate Lin Mo, what you said is both stupid and ridiculous. Does everyone know how many aircraft carriers Huaxia has now? This classmate gestured to show around. That's right, it's 0. Laughter erupted around. Aircraft carriers are the pinnacle of military technology, and Yingjiang had them as early as World War II 70 years ago, and they are nuclear-powered. And after so many years, how many does Huaxia have now? 0. Hearing this, those who had just laughed stopped laughing. The boy continued with a cold laugh. It's one thing to be backward, but the worst is backward and not knowing it. Classmate Lin Mo, you are blabbering here to please Professor Ai, superficially patriotic, but actually foolish. Such a lecture is not worth attending. Everyone fell silent. The classmate had already packed his things and left early. Lin Mo shook his head and smiled lightly. In this parallel blue star, the historical development processes of various countries had already diverged, and the timeline was somewhat chaotic. It could be said to be a completely different world. However, the timeline and development process could be roughly regarded as the 2012 of his previous life. Through past memories, Lin Mo also found that some historical events, though different in time, were bound to happen. For example, Huaxia's first aircraft carrier, although the country had not officially announced it, Lin Mo could roughly infer it. In a few months at least, or at most a year, the Kufu carrier would be officially declared repaired and named Jinlong ship. And during the repair process, Huaxia would accumulate extensive carrier experience. 2 domestically built carriers were already under construction with encouraging progress. Without incident, the second fully domestically developed carrier Qilong ship would be delivered in 4 years. If a major crisis arose, it could be rushed to completion within a year at most. At this moment, another female student with a pockmarked face stood up and asked Lin Mo. Classmate Lin Mo, it has been 8 years since Huaxia purchased the Kufu carrier. So far, the authorities have not released any news. Why are you so sure it will be repaired soon? Did you get some inside information from your mentor? Lin Mo was speechless. Could he say he came from a parallel world and could make predictions based on prior knowledge? Professor Ai on stage cleared his throat to interrupt. All right, there's no need to dwell on baseless things. Classmate Lin Mo's intentions are good, but in the future, he should be cautious in words and not exaggerate. Which class does that student who dared to leave early belong to? Deduct his credits for the military professional course and let him repeat the year. Let me repeat one last time, we must abandon all illusions about Yingjiang's hegemonism. Today's lecture ends here. Class dismissed. Lin Mo, Rin Shui, both of you come to my office. The sound of books being packed arose. The pockmarked female student who had asked questions slowly sat down in the back row. Her sharp eyes kept flickering, and the special eavesdropping device hidden inside her clothes began transmitting information to an unknown location. After the transmission ended, the pockmarked girl stood up, her face calm, and left the conference hall with the other students. To go to Yingjiang for studying, she needed a letter of allegiance. When most people had left, the 2 people called by the mentor in the front row did not leave. Rin Shui, wearing large-rimmed glasses, looked excitedly at Lin Mo. Come on, the mentor is calling us to his office. Junior, you really dare to say that? Did the mentor tell you some secret news? What secret news? You can't fool me. There must be something. Lin Mo followed behind Rin Shui on the way to Ai Chongfeng's office. Suddenly, a clear sound rang in his mind, making him freeze on the spot. Ding. Successfully implemented strategic intimidation against Yingjiang Intelligence Bureau, obtained 200 prestige points. Huaxiao bloodline detecting. System activating. Congratulations, host. You have activated the strategic intimidation technology system. Congratulations, host. You have activated the strategic intimidation technology system. First-tier technology unlocking. Congratulations, host. You have learned Kunlun personal exoskeleton armor and supporting sub-technologies. Kunlun personal exoskeleton armor. Current prestige value 200, beginning of hegemony stage. When prestige value reaches 100, you can unlock the first system upgrade mission. Completing the mission unlocks the second-tier technology. System. Lin Mo was stunned, finding it absurd for a moment. Then he thought he had died from sudden cardiac arrest and still transmigrated. What could be more absurd than that? Lin Mo, what are you daydreaming about? Hurry up. Coming. While walking, Lin Mo began to understand the only technology currently unlocked by the system, the personal exoskeleton armor technology. But after a brief understanding, he was completely shocked by this future technology. Am I sure this isn't a dream? The technical level of this personal exoskeleton armor was terrifying to such an extent. At least it surpassed the technology of Earth in his past life by over 50 years. As a former senior researcher at the Chinese Academy of Sciences specializing in military technology projects, Lin Mo could see at a glance that the technology of this personal exoskeleton armor was groundbreaking even in his past life. It wasn't just about overcoming technical difficulties, there were also hardware limitations from energy materials and manufacturing processes. And for these limitations, the system's supporting technologies had solutions. This terrifying future technology must never remain hidden in my mind. Lin Mo secretly resolved, I must find a way to build it as soon as possible and enhance Huaxia's national power. If this future armor could be brought into reality, it would be like Iron Man armor coming to life. It would absolutely greatly enhance Huaxia's military strength. At the same time, Lin Mo gained a deeper understanding of the terrifying nature of his system. The mere newbie gift that came free was already several eras ahead of the technology level of Earth in his past life. Terrifying indeed. Thinking of this, a sharp glint flashed in Lin Mo's eyes. Most importantly, this system can be continuously upgraded. Upgrading the system unlocks new technologies. At this moment, Lin Mo suddenly felt impatient for the second, third, and higher tiers of future technology. He silently set his current top priority. Upgrade the system as soon as possible. Thinking this, Lin Mo murmured in his mind, please introduce the basic functions, especially the upgrade aspects. Alright, host. Here are the basic functions of this system. Unlocked parts require higher system permissions. Please upgrade the system to access them. Lin Mo quickly browsed through the current system functions and soon learned the requirements for system upgrade. Very simple. As long as Lin Mo carries out strategic intimidation against hostile forces, he can gain the key to system upgrade, prestige value. When the prestige value exceeds the target number, the system upgrade mission can be initiated. Completing the mission unlocks the next tier of technology. Lin Mo was lost in thought. In the end, it all came down to strategic intimidation. Does this mean that the direction of my life in this life can no longer follow the scientific research path of my previous life? In AI Chongfeng's office, Lin Mo, how did you come by that news about the aircraft carrier? Ever since the two entered the office, he had been staring at Lin Mo, making Lin Mo's scalp tingle. Fortunately, on the way here, Lin Mo had already thought of a story. He said calmly, Mentor, this is my personal speculation. Huaxia has not yet made any official announcement, but there is plenty of related information to confirm it, including fluctuations in stock prices of steel companies, changes in order volumes at shipyards, etc. As long as one is willing to connect the dots, it's not hard to draw a conclusion. Watching AI Chongfeng nod, Lin Mo continued thoughtfully. Many military experts online have also made guesses. Most people just dare not connect the dots or are unwilling to believe. AI Chongfeng nodded. This explanation was fairly reasonable. The gloom on his face eased slightly. Beside him, Ren Shui excitedly hugged Lin Mo's arm. Lin Mo, you're amazing. Look at the mentor's expression, it's like he's constipated. You actually guessed right. As expected of my clever junior apprentice brother. AI Chongfeng put on a stern face and scolded. Ren Shui, stand at attention. Oh, Ren Shui stood at attention on the spot. At this moment, AI Chongfeng remembered another important matter. He turned to Lin Mo and asked, there are only 3 months until the graduation thesis defense. How is your rocket guidance project going? Lin Mo was taken aback. Why suddenly ask about this? Seeing Lin Mo not answering, AI Chongfeng frowned and said, this year's graduation thesis defense at Huaxia University is no small matter, especially for our military technology major. You must take it very seriously. I called you here today specifically to tell you. This year's graduation defense at Huaxia University will have high-ranking officials from the Supreme Military Region and the Huaxiao Academy of Sciences as examiners. Perhaps even a few academicians will come. Lin Mo was shocked. Academicians from the Huaxiao Academy of Sciences, attending an undergraduate's thesis defense. AI Chongfeng continued. Do you know why? In recent years, the Eagle country has imposed a full technological blockade on us, causing stagnation in all areas of technology. The high-level leadership of Huaxia has finally awakened. They must value high-end talent and independent innovation. Soon the country will launch a series of major projects to tackle bottleneck technologies urgently needing fresh young research blood. For our Huaca University, especially for the graduating students of the Military Technology Academy, this is a major opportunity. As long as you can prove your strength, you will receive resource support from Huaxia. Resources that previous students could never have imagined. Lin Mo suddenly understood. So that's it. In his past life, indeed around 2012, the country launched a new round of talent programs. It was also at that time that he graduated from university and entered the Chinese Academy of Sciences as a researcher. Now facing graduation once again, not only did Lin Mo possess the technical knowledge from his past life, but he also had awakened the system. Thinking of this, a sharp glint flashed in Lin Mo's eyes. To unlock system technology as soon as possible, he needed to carry out strategic intimidation against external forces, which required a certain level of power and status. This graduation thesis defense will be the key to making a stunning debut. Seeing Lin Mo not responding for a long time, AI Chongfeng's heart sank. Could his student be falling short at the last moment? So he frowned and asked, "Is your graduation project encountering some difficulty? Tell me, you must optimize it as soon as possible. You are the only undergraduate I am supervising. Your thesis must at least be in the top 10 of the university. You absolutely cannot embarrass me." Lin Mo thought for a moment and quickly made a decision. He looked at AI Chongfeng seriously and said, "Mentor, I do have new ideas for my graduation project. Recently, I've had some inspiration and research regarding individual combat equipment. I'd like to change my graduation project and need your support in some areas." After hearing Lin Mo's words, AI Chongfeng's face changed. Nonsense. The previous rocket guidance project was personally decided by him. While not outstanding, it could at least rank in the top 10 of the university. Now, with only 2 months left, he wanted to change the project. Individual combat equipment. AI Chongfeng frowned and asked, guns, rocket launchers, or grenade launchers? Huaxia's technology in individual combat equipment is very mature, but it's difficult to innovate. What project do you want to change to? Lin Mo replied. Individual exoskeleton armor. AI Chongfeng blurted out, individual exoskeleton armor. What the heck is that? This brat, has he been slacking off too long and started hallucinating from playing video games? I disagree. AI Chongfeng slammed the desk and then began a scolding. I might as well tell you. The technology of individual exoskeleton armor, although still at the conceptual weapon stage externally. But our Huaxia started investing substantial manpower and resources years ago to tackle this technology, competing with the Eagle country in military technology. Unfortunately, at the beginning of this year, this national-level project was suspended. The project team directly concluded that, without a generational breakthrough in our energy and alloy material technologies, it is impossible to create exoskeleton armor practical for combat. Even the Eagle country can't do it. AI Chongfeng stared at Lin Mo, as if saying, with the nation's heavy investment and countless PhD researchers declaring failure, do you think you can succeed? Mentor, I am confident. Lin Mo really hadn't expected AI Chongfeng to react so strongly and didn't know how to explain for a moment. AI Chongfeng was so angry he laughed. You don't have a hammer of confidence. I always thought you were steady and diligent, and I appreciated that, but I didn't expect you to be this arrogant. Regardless, I disagree. My students should study heavy firepower equipment. That is the true way. Only artillery is the truth. Lin Mo felt helpless. His mentor was good in every way except his extreme obsession with firepower coverage and carpet bombing. He had always looked down on individual equipment. Mentor, I really am fully confident. How about this? At worst, I'll finish the graduation project you assigned first, and then start my new project. By then, I will also submit my design concept for the individual exoskeleton armor in the form of a specific design plan, and you will understand at a glance. As a former senior researcher at the Chinese Academy of Sciences, Lin Mo had 10,000 ways to convince AI Chongfeng. The simplest was to convince through technology. The rocket guidance graduation project assigned by AI Chongfeng was something he had thoroughly researched in his past life. At most, he could finish it easily in 3 days. There was no other way. Even without the system relying solely on the knowledge in his mind, he was fully capable of giving AI Chongfeng a little reincarnation shock. Lin Mo met AI Chongfeng's gaze with determination and said, Mentor, I need your full support. What China lacks now is independent innovation. No one who dares to blaze new trails should be stifled, don't you agree? You. AI Chongfeng was about to scold his reckless student again, but upon hearing that last line, he found himself at a loss for words. In the end, AI Chongfeng said helplessly, Lin Mo, what's gotten into you that you insist on charging into this dead end? Exoskeleton armor is riddled with technological barriers. This isn't something one person can overcome, it's a problem tied to the entire nation's industrialization. Lin Mo remained unimpressed. With a light chuckle he said, words are meaningless, once I bring you the design plan in a couple of days you'll understand. AI Chongfeng couldn't help but roll his eyes. A design plan. It's all in your dreams. As long as you ensure your graduation project is flawless, I'll agree to let you do it. AI Chongfeng snorted coldly. Tell me, what do you need? Lin Mo replied, a lab, a testing ground, and project funding. How much funding? This question stumped Lin Mo. In his past life as the chief engineer of the Nantianmen Project, the funds he could allocate were counted in hundreds of millions. But now as an undergraduate, he couldn't get too much project funding. Lin Mo calculated silently, slashing the budget to the bone, and finally gritted out, at least 5 million. How much? AI Chongfeng was once again laughed in exasperation. Do you think project funds are printed on paper for me to hand out? Among all the doctoral projects he oversaw, none had initial funding reaching 5 million. AI Chongfeng waved his hand grandly and said, I'll arrange a separate lab for you. I'll also allocate a dedicated area in the research testing ground, but you can only use the automated production line from 4M to 10M. As for project funds, at most 200,000 with an initial installment of 100,000, further funding will be added after initial results. 200,000. Lin Mo panicked immediately. What could 200,000 do? It wouldn't even buy basic materials. Mentor. Just 200,000. Not a penny more. Get out of here. Leaving the office, Lin Mo looked up at the blue sky and white clouds, bitterly smiling to himself. What could 200,000 do? It wasn't even enough for the helmet materials. Would he have to borrow from everyone? But as a college student, no matter how noble his reasons, he couldn't borrow millions for research. Can I only sell my technology? But sorting through my memories is extremely time-consuming. Lin Mo's mind held many cutting-edge scientific technologies, but organizing these chaotic, fragmented memories was incredibly difficult. A wave of frustration washed over him. Just then a curious, delicate female voice came from behind. Lin Mo, that exoskeleton armor you mentioned earlier, is it really impressive? Ren Shui caught up from behind, her big sparkling eyes full of curiosity. Lin Mo turned to look at the soft, adorable girl. In his memory, Ren Shui had always held a fondness for him, but it wasn't romantic. It seemed that the emotional perspectives of research minds were indeed different from ordinary people. Lin Mo replied absent-mindedly, of course. Ren Shui asked curiously, are you that confident? Lin Mo brushed her off with a casual remark. With enough funding, developing exoskeleton armor is a breeze for me. The main issue is the lack of money. All right, senior, I need to go. He had to rush off to scrape together funds and had no time for idle chat. Just as Lin Mo was about to step forward, a small hand reached out and shoved a black bank card into his white shirt. What are you doing? Feeling the touch on his chest, Lin Mo let out a startled curse. In broad daylight, what was the meaning of this? He quickly pulled out the bank card and found it was a black gold China Merchant's Bank diamond card. Little Junior, aren't you short on money? Here, this is the living expenses I've saved over the past few months. Take it all. Lin Mo stood frozen. To support him, Ren Shui was willing to give him everything she had. Was Senior Shui a hopeless romantic? But really, she was hard to dislike. Lin Mo handed the card back and said, Senior, your money isn't enough. Take it back. I appreciate the thought. Looking at the girl who barely reached 1.6 meters, Lin Mo recalled her labels. Shanghai's top scholar, a prodigy, a competition maniac. Aside from her peculiar personality, she had almost no flaws, including her figure. Unfortunately, I won't have any energy for romantic relationships in the next 2 years. Lin Mo thought to himself, I can only say I'm sorry. With China facing internal and external troubles, I must devote 100% of my energy to driving its rise. Everything else must take a back seat. Lin Mo held out the bank card, his hand hovering in the air for ages, but Ren Shui across from him refused to take it. Little Junior, you really don't want it. Really, I don't. It's 5 million. Lin Mo nearly choked on his own saliva. How much? The little girl blinked innocently. 5 million. Lin Mo's right hand, still holding the card, remained suspended in midair. After a few seconds of contemplation, he gritted his teeth, swiftly tucked the card into his shirt pocket, and struggling to overcome his embarrassment, said with a straight face, Senior Shui, thank you for your support. He no longer cared whether the senior was after his looks. He immediately activated the truth-seeking law. Senior, trust me. The Chinese people will surely thank you for this contribution. 3 days later, Lin Mo placed his complete graduation project on rocket guidance along with some design plans and rough blueprints for the individual exoskeleton armor in front of AI Chongfeng. After inspecting the rocket guidance project twice, AI Chongfeng nodded with satisfaction. His student was exceptionally bright and had built a solid foundation over 4 years of university. With this graduation project alone and a grade evaluation should be no problem. But when AI Chongfeng picked up the design manual and overall plan for the exoskeleton armor and gave it a cursory glance, he was utterly stunned by Lin Mo's proposal. What an extraordinary concept. This high-energy condensed plasma power engine and this intelligent behavioral adaptation system. Yet, these key supporting technologies are also highly feasible. AI Chongfeng looked at Lin Mo in awe, unable to believe that this kid actually had a plan. Moreover, he had very concrete solutions for the technical hurdles and barriers. Maybe he really can develop something. AI Chongfeng suddenly held some hope for Lin Mo's new project. If he could overcome a few key supporting technologies, it might even provide insights for the national project that had been suspended. From that day on, AI Chongfeng did a complete about-face and began to strongly support Lin Mo's research. The initial project funding granted to Lin Mo was also directly increased to 1 million. Through his actions, Lin Mo proved he was indeed a scientific genius. At the Houyi University Military Science and Technology Testing Ground. 6 million in funding is still not enough. They'll have to strip out most of the firepower system. Lin Mo stood in the factory building of the testing ground looking at the automated production line and muttering to himself. The research testing ground of Houyi University's Military Science and Technology College was built to the standards of the nation's top scientific research bases. Here not only were there various high-precision research instruments, but also a full array of automated machines for smelting, forging, and electronics. This was also the purpose behind Lin Mo's request to come here. Thinking back to some incidents during the military lecture a few days ago, Lin Mo pondered silently. Within 10 minutes of mentioning the aircraft carrier news, the Eagle Intelligence Agency had already obtained the information. Some students at Houyi University really are turncoats. They're practically comparable to the 500 traders of my past life. And this strategic intimidation system, even though it reached the Eagle Intelligence Agency, only earned me 200 prestige points. And I need 100 prestige points to unlock the system upgrade mission. Should he catch spies? Lin Mo immediately shook his head. Collecting evidence of espionage was already extremely difficult, and there was no 500 reward policy now. Moreover, the graduation project defense was only 2 months away. Spending energy on catching spies would be putting the cart before the horse. One step at a time, the most critical thing is to build the exoskeleton armor as quickly as possible. Creating groundbreaking technology, achieving strategic intimidation, then upgrading the system to acquire new tech and advance China's technology tree. That was the true path. Time waits for no one. He had to seize every moment. Besides, keeping these turncoat eyes around might prove surprisingly useful for future strategic intimidation. And so over the next 2 months, Lin Mo's life was a straight line between the lab and the testing ground. He relied on Ren Shui to bring him 3 meals a day. He ate and slept in the lab. Every day at 4 a.m., Lin Mo would arrive at the testing ground under the stars to develop alloy materials and machine core components. Life could only be described as exceptionally monotonous. An ordinary person would have gone mad, but Lin Mo reveled in it. And despite his hard work, there were no shortage of equally diligent students at Houyi University. These people were the future of China. 2 months later, the day before the graduation project defense. After 2 months of arduous and relentless effort, Lin Mo had basically completed the Kunlun individual exoskeleton armor. Gazing at the Sci-Fi-inspired dark matte exoskeleton armor, Lin Mo's eyes shone with an uncontrollable joy. But recalling the enormous expenses, Lin Mo's heart ached to the extreme. This is burning through money like crazy. Of the Kunlun Generation 1 armor's components, Lin Mo had dismantled and removed all but a quarter. Not only was the firepower system stripped down to just a few micro-guided tactical rockets, even the intelligence system had not been installed. It retained only the most basic functions. Though called Kunlun armor, it was merely a budget version that resembled it in appearance. Yet despite the drastic reduction in configuration, the cost had not decreased in the slightest. Of the 6 million he had on hand, only a few thousand remained. Lin Mo had calculated that to install all the components, especially the firepower system, those micro-electromagnetic pulse cannons, micro-high-energy laser cannons, without 300 to 500 million, it was utterly impossible. Nevertheless, Lin Mo did not mind. He had never intended to create a complete or even a high-end version. Although the budget armor's configuration was pitiful, its performance was unequivocally top tier. After several rounds of experimental operation, Lin Mo took off the exoskeleton armor. The shock and excitement on his face lingered. This is absolutely outrageous beyond belief. Terrifying strength, unparalleled speed, exceptionally agile armor flexibility, and a firepower system he dared not test on campus. Absolutely groundbreaking, a future black technology. It could be said to rival even the first-generation Iron Man suit. Lin Mo was full of confidence. If such a creation could not achieve a perfect score, then no perfect graduation project existed in this world. At the Houyi University dormitory, to prepare for the next day's defense, Lin Mo returned to fetch his documents. The moment he entered, he was greeted by the playful howls of his three good friends. Old Lin, 2 months. You really didn't come back to the dorm even once. What a workaholic. It seems you've long forgotten about dorm 404 and us brothers. Exactly, you didn't even glance back at us. Such beastly behavior must be punished. You have to treat us to a night out. Meal standard over 500. Lin Mo laughed and cursed, "Get lost, all of you." The burly young Guoji jumped down from his bed. Full of curiosity, he asked, "You finished your graduation project ages ago, yet you still bury yourself in the lab every day. What are you tinkering with?" Lin Mo smiled, but did not answer. He had not told anyone about the new project. He had only mentioned 2 months ago that his graduation project was complete, which had made them quite envious. Always so mysterious. The lanky Gao Tianyuan, lying on the top bunk, blurted out, "Old Lin, did you know? This defense is different from before. I heard it's going to be packed with big shots." Su Xiuqi, wearing thick-rimmed glasses and looking scholarly, sat on a chair and shared the news he had gathered. Inside scoop. 2 old academicians from the Chinese Academy of Sciences and a ministerial-level bigwig from the Supreme Military Region. Lin Mo nodded. He had known this information for a while. If only one big shot had come as the defense examiner, it might have been just a formality. It would have been a gesture of China's high regard for talent. But this time, 3 top experts and leaders from different fields had arrived. What did that signify? It signified a shift in talent policy, an unprecedented level of importance. Our batch is truly unlucky. Yang Guoji lamented. In normal times, my little stun grenade might have scraped a C grade and barely let me graduate. But this year it would probably be a D, or even E, meaning a definite delay. The graduation project defense scores were graded from A to E with an additional F. Each grade was further divided into tiers. Generally, one needed at least a C to graduate smoothly. A small number of grade projects, if they showed potential for improvement, could be enhanced within 2 months and resubmitted for defense. Of course, most projects rated D or below were directly delayed. Su Xiuqi added a jab. That probability is greater than 92.65. Old Su, you just love running your mouth, don't you? Always chattering away. Gao Tianyuan tried to console him. Don't worry, old Yang. There are plenty of projects worse than yours. Maybe the big shots will just pass you. Besides, delayed graduation is common in our military science academy. You won't be the only one. You really know how to comfort people. Yang Guozi's smile was exceptionally strained. Lin Mo's project this time should get an A right. Su Xiuqi, who knew something about Lin Mo's project, admitted it was indeed excellent. After all, he was the only undergraduate student of Professor AI, a major doctoral advisor. He couldn't possibly produce a subpar project. In the past, it would definitely be an A, but now it's hard to say. Yang Guozi said, I heard that one of the academicians coming is a representative of the Dove faction. You know, these 3 big shots each have veto power. And Lin Mo is a student of Professor AI Chongfeng, a typical hawk figure. Everyone knows that. A shadow of worry flickered through Lin Mo's mind. His mentor, Professor AI Chongfeng, was originally a heavyweight in the General Armament Department of the Supreme Military Command, a quintessential hawk, whose words were nothing short of startling. A decade ago, during the final phase of the hypocritical honeymoon between Eagle and Huaxiao, the Doves dominated the domestic political struggle. AI Chongfeng was ousted from the Supreme Military Command, losing nearly all his influence. He eventually ended up teaching at Houyi University. If any of the Dove leaders were among the examiners this time, it would undoubtedly be a calamity for Lin Mo. But the Lin Mo of now was no longer the senior undergraduate he once was. Lin Mo smiled lightly. Don't worry, there's always a way out. In the Huaxiao where I Lin Mo exist, only one faction is allowed, the war faction. If a division must be made, it can only be between radical hawks and conservative hawks. Go for it, Lin Mo. You are the only hope of our dorm 404. You'll definitely get an A. The next day, the graduation project defense arrived as scheduled. It was June, and by 8 in the morning a wave of heat was already sweeping in. At that moment, the observation deck of the research testing ground was packed early. With mobile signals blocked, everyone could only wait in boredom. Each year, the graduating students of Houyi University boasted top-tier technical skills among domestic college students. While most projects were indeed mediocre, there were always a few exceptionally creative technological works unveiled. Among them, there were even genius works rated A on the spot. Some students were recruited by the Chinese Academy of Sciences for master's and doctoral programs before graduation, or poached by major tech companies with annual salaries exceeding $1 million. This year's defense was different from previous ones, with 3 academicians serving as examiners. As a result, many freshmen to juniors came voluntarily to observe. Even some professors from other universities' research institution staff and top executives from tech companies applied to enter and watch. The crowd numbered over 8,000. Near the podium, over 200 graduating students participating in the defense gathered in groups around their mentors. Although there were over 200 students, there were only about 60 projects. Many projects involved complex content with multiple participants working under their mentors' guidance, each handling their own tasks. Of course, based on past outstanding works, only individually completed graduation projects had a chance of earning an A rating. Because geniuses are all around. What you say, you're not all around, but highly specialized in a certain technology. Sorry, that's just a specialist, not a genius. Everyone ready. Beside AI Chongfeng sat two people, Lin Mo and Ren Shui. AI Chongfeng looked at Lin Mo and instructed, make sure to check everything thoroughly. No mistakes. Rocket guidance is an eternal topic. Your project's innovation is sufficient, but to get an A, your performance in this defense matters. Ren Shui grinned. Mentor, don't worry. Lin Mo's exoskeleton armor has been ready for a while. I've already peeked at it. It's definitely an A. 10 is no problem. AI Chongfeng shook his head with a smile. Enough still thinking about that exoskeleton armor. He had been quite supportive of Lin Mo's exoskeleton project later on. He not only increased the funding to 1 million, but also applied to higher authorities for access to some classified materials from previously failed national projects. In his eyes, the original rocket guidance project was already relatively mature, so Lin Mo could tinker as he pleased. But over the past 2 months, Lin Mo had never sought his advice on any issue, nor had he submitted any verifiable progress. He must have failed. Mentor, rest assured. If I don't get an A this time, I'll voluntarily apply for delayed graduation. Lin Mo smiled. I've combined the old and new projects. I'll present them together later. 2 months prior, all graduating students' project topics had been reported and registered. The project's core couldn't be changed, but additional content could be introduced. Lin Mo simply crafted 3 miniature guided rockets and integrated them into the Kunlun exoskeleton armor's fire system. He would present them together. Such operations were common in previous years, and the school encouraged it. After all, geniuses have ideas popping up left and right. You can't limit their creativity. Hearing this, AI Chongfeng frowned. Combining old and new projects. Why didn't you tell me beforehand? How do you integrate rocket guidance with exoskeleton armor? Tell me. This is sheer recklessness. If you mess it up, it'll affect the final score. You never give me peace of mind. Lin Mo was about to explain. Just then, surrounded by a crowd, 2 elderly men in Zhongshan suits and a military leader in uniform with 2 stars on his shoulders strode into the research testing ground. The president, vice president, and deans of Lonka University followed a step behind. Passing the waiting area, Ren Shui suddenly stood up, leaned over the railing, and shouted, Uncle Li, over here, look. I'm here. The military leader among the 3 turned to the waiting area, recognized a familiar face, and smiled in surprise. Xiao Shui, what are you doing here? Ren Shui laughed and yelled, my junior is defending his project today. His graduation work is amazing. You have to give him a high score. AI Chongfeng's expression shifted. He quickly pulled Ren Shui back. Huh, junior, not your little boyfriend, is he? If you don't focus on research, he'll report you to old Ren. General Li didn't respond directly, but walked away with a smile. Lin Mo looked thoughtfully at Ren Shui. His senior sister actually knew leaders from the Supreme Military Command. Meanwhile, the other elderly leader exchanged a tense glare with AI Chongfeng for a long moment. The air seemed to crackle with sparks. The group took their seats on the podium. Xiang Guangming. Lin Mo faintly heard AI Chongfeng's gnashing teeth beside him. On the podium, Lonka University President LV Chi picked up the microphone and announced loudly, everyone please remain quiet. The graduation project defense will begin shortly. Now let me introduce the 3 leaders who have graced our school as defense examiners this year. Academician of the Chinese Academy of Engineering, Chief of the General Armament Department of the Supreme Military Command 2-star, General Li Jingwu. Academician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, expert in metal physics and fracture mechanics, Director of the National Key Laboratory of Materials Physics, Academician Lan Mingqing. Academician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, expert in nuclear physics and high-energy physics, Director of the Institute of Nuclear Power Operations, Academician Xiang Guangming. Let's welcome them. Thunderous applause erupted. The 3 renowned figures filled the graduating students with both excitement and dread. In recent years, no defense had featured academician-level examiners, and now 3 had arrived. One of them was even a general-level leader from the Supreme Military Command's General Armament Department. While it was a significant opportunity, it also meant this defense would undoubtedly be the most brutal in history. And indeed it was. Li Jianbao Hui Wenjiji's tracked armored vehicle project team overall scored D. Li Jian's individual score D, Bao Hui D, Wenjie D. Zhang Guoran Lu Yuan's high-precision sniper rifle project team overall score C. Zhang Goran's individual score, see Lu Yuan's D. As more project teams took the stage, everyone present could see it. The three leaders' scoring was brutally strict. In previous years, some projects could at least get a B or at worst a C. Only works rated C or above could graduate. This year, projects that would have earned a B were only getting a C. Those that would have gotten a C were all receiving D ratings. This meant many who could have graduated now had to prepare for a second defense 2 months later. This is insane. We're cursed with bad luck. Many graduates yet to take the stage wore gloomy expressions. It felt like waiting for execution. Earlier, they held some admiration for the big shots, but now they seemed like a demon trio. Too strict. AI Chongfeng, sitting in the waiting area, furrowed his brow. In all his years of teaching, he had never seen such harsh grading. By this standard, Lin Mo's rocket guidance project would be lucky to get a B. What kind of work would it take to earn an A under such rigorous scoring? On the podium, old Lon, if it's all this junk, we've come for nothing. Academician Xiang Guangming turned to Academician Lan Mingxiang on his right. Aside from that B, what are these other works? They're an eyesore. No. Exoskeleton armor. The three big shots exchanged glances, each seeing confusion in the other's eyes. Li Jingwu spoke up, asking Lin Mo, did your advisor Professor AI Chongfeng ever mention the national level project to you? Chiefly my advisor did inform me, Lin Mo replied. Li Jingwu grew even more curious. Then do you know the final outcome of the project? Of course I do. The project failed and was terminated earlier this year. Li Jingwu was utterly baffled. Knowing this, you still dare to pursue this project. And as a solo researcher, Lan Mingqing, standing nearby, felt a spark of curiosity and seemed rather intrigued. However, Xiang Guangming's face showed clear displeasure. Typical of AI de Peo's student, just as unreliable as his teacher. If the nation were left in the hands of people like them, who knows how far it would decline. He had already decided to give the lowest possible score during the evaluation. For a student like this, it was necessary to harshly curb his reckless audacity. This was to save him. Ha ha ha, you're quite interesting, kid. Li Jingwu laughed heartily. Knowing all this, you still dared to challenge it. Quite bold. With that, Li Jingwu's smile faded. He fixed his gaze on Lin Mo and said, I won't hide it from you. The national-level individual exoskeleton armor project was initiated by the Supreme Military Region's General Armament Department. And I was the lead. I don't know who gave you the courage to take on a project that failed, even with academicians leading it, 8 doctoral researchers participating, and 3 national research institutes collaborating. To me, that little spark of inspiration of yours might be utterly worthless in my eyes. You'd better be prepared. Lin Mo smiled indifferently. Scientific research was the ultimate act of individual heroism. Others were only fit to assist and cooperate. More people didn't necessarily mean greater strength. Lin Mo began. Show us your work. Lin Mo opened the equipment case and retrieved the armor components one by one, assembling them with practiced ease. Once he had it on, his sleek sci-fi appearance made Li Jingwu's pupils contract sharply. The dark matte alloy armor clung to Lin Mo's frame. He looked like a futuristic warrior from a sci-fi movie brought to life. Holy crap. What is Lin Mo up to? Wasn't his project supposed to be about micro-rocket guidance? Why is he doing a costume change now? Is he playing that hard? In the observation area, the 3 dorm buddies who had already completed their defenses were utterly bewildered. Everyone else had much the same reaction. What the hell was this graduate doing? Instead of finishing his defense properly, he suddenly changed into armor. Was he playing cosplay? No. In the waiting area, AI Chongfeng, with his vast experience, suddenly stood up, staring from afar at the fully armored Lin Mo. What kind of weird thing has this kid created? As a seasoned old professor, he knew quality when he saw it. The alloy material used in Lin Mo's armor was unlike anything he had ever seen. It was clearly extraordinary. This student, Lan Mingqing, Xiang Guangming, and all the leaders of Houyi University were instantly captivated by the sci-fi style of the exoskeleton armor. They were the closest and could see it most clearly. As big shots in the tech field, they had sharp eyes. Lin Mo's exoskeleton armor. It used a new type of alloy material, featured a power unit on the chest, and had nozzles at every joint. Clearly, there was something substantial here. Just then, Lin Mo's next move startled all the leaders on the podium. He raised his right arm. With a powerful punch forward, the power unit of the exoskeleton armor was instantly activated, and pale blue flames shot out from the joints. The air was compressed violently. Boom! The concentrated strike actually produced a sonic boom. A thunderous blast echoed throughout the entire research test field. The Special Forces soldiers from the Supreme Military Region reacted swiftly, rushing to the front of the podium with riot shields to prevent any mishap. A sonic boom. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Xiang Guangming said in disbelief. Chiefly, what's going on? Why did Lin Mo's casual punch cause an explosion? Lan Mingqing, startled, stood up and quickly asked Li Jingwu. As the person present who understood exoskeleton armor best, only he would know. Li Jingwu was dumbfounded. How was he supposed to know why? What kind of exoskeleton armor could produce an explosive sound with a single punch? Was it supposed to be an aircraft engine? Everyone in the observation area was slowly coming to their senses. This graduate wasn't playing some cosplay dress-up. This was the real deal. In the test field, Lin Mo paid no attention to the shock of others and continued his demonstration methodically. He bent his knees, slightly crouched down, and made a light leap. To everyone's astonishment, he easily jumped over 4 meters high. Landing with a thud, the concrete floor even developed a few fine cracks. Holy crap, is this an illusion? Luan Niao rubbed his eyes vigorously, utterly unable to believe what he was seeing. In the arena, after donning the exoskeleton armor, Lin Mo also began to feel a surge of excitement. He flexed his limbs slightly, then started sprinting around the testing ground at an unimaginable speed. This speed? Am I dreaming? Xiang Guangming slapped himself hard, trying to verify if it was a dream. Yet a sharp sting spread across his cheek. What the hell was this? The black figure darted across the field, leaving a trail of afterimages in its wake. His running speed surpassed that of an ordinary car. Many rubbed their eyes repeatedly. Every year at Houyi University's graduation defense, there were jaw-dropping tech innovations, but nothing this exaggerated had ever been seen before. Mentor, look. See, I told you I wasn't lying. Ren Shui excitedly pushed AI Chongfeng's shoulder, while AI Chongfeng stood expressionless, utterly stunned. What terrifying thing had his student managed to create over these past 2 months? After completing a lap, Lin Mo returned to the front of the podium. Phew. He exhaled deeply. Although the exoskeleton armor provided a significant boost, the physical fitness of the wearer was also crucial. That lap was over 1,000 meters, and honestly, it was quite exhausting. After demonstrating the speed, Lin Mo was about to showcase the armor's strength performance. Suddenly, he heard someone calling him from the podium. Lin Mo, wait a moment. Lin Mo paused his next move. He looked toward the source of the voice. To his surprise, everyone on the podium was standing, all eyes fixed on him. Li Jingwu's voice trembled. Lin Mo, stop. Halt the defense. You're a researcher, don't hurt yourself. Lin Mo removed his helmet, puzzled. Huh, hurt. Don't worry, I won't get hurt. I developed this individual exoskeleton armor myself. Don't I know its limits? No. Absolutely not. The 3 dignitaries quickly spoke up. They had now realized the truth. This powered exoskeleton armor was not only no mere showpiece, but also an astounding success. Judging by its speed alone, it was utterly phenomenal. Calling it a groundbreaking pinnacle of technology would not be an exaggeration. But precisely because they understood how extraordinary the armor was, they dared not let Lin Mo continue demonstrating it himself. Due to the immature technology, the exoskeleton armor placed extreme demands on physical fitness. Even test pilots had to be elite special forces soldiers with exceptional physiques. How could they let Lin Mo, a college student in research, keep pushing himself? Lin Mo, take off that exoskeleton armor right now. After the defense, he'll take you to the military hospital for a full body checkup. We can't let any hidden injuries develop. Li Jingwu turned to a special forces officer beside him. Lu Zhihui, here, you will test this individual exoskeleton armor. Lu Zhihui was ecstatic. Was this for real? He was a major in the Supreme Military Region's Special Operations Unit, specifically tasked with protecting Li Jingwu. Moreover, he had previously been one of the test pilots for the National Exoskeleton Armor Project. Faced with such a high-performance new armor, he had been itching to try it out. Yes, sir. Lin Mo was speechless. It had only just started, and they were already telling him to take off the armor. How was he supposed to continue the defense? But there was no helping it. When the examiners gave orders, what else could he do? Lin Mo had no choice but to remove the armor components and place them back in the equipment case. Lin Mo, this is for your safety. This combat-grade exoskeleton armor puts immense strain on the body. You should not demonstrate it yourself. Come up here. Join us and explain it to us properly. Lin Mo was frozen in place. A graduation defense where he was supposed to sit on the podium with the examiners. Seeing Lin Mo hesitate, Li Jingwu grew impatient. He walked over quickly, pulled Lin Mo up to the podium, grabbed a seat, and made Lin Mo sit down. Lin Mo, you must explain this to us thoroughly. Li Jingwu was about to sit beside Lin Mo when Luan Niao and Xiang Guangming beat him to it, plopping down on either side of Lin Mo. Damn it, you 2 old bastards. Left with no choice, Li Jingwu had to stand behind Lin Mo. Meanwhile, the Houyi University leaders didn't even bother sitting and crowded around as well. They all turned their gaze to Lu Zhihui, who was suiting up in the arena. The 3 heavyweight figures formed a tight circle around Lin Mo with the school leaders standing behind them. This made Lin Mo feel like he was sitting on pins and needles. Who could understand this? Was this even how a defense was supposed to go? Reporting, sir. Individual exoskeleton armor donned and ready. Awaiting orders. Lu Zhihui, well versed in the process, quickly put on the full armor. The power unit on his chest activated. Its cool sci-fi appearance made Li Jingwu itch to try it himself. Proceed with the standard individual exoskeleton armor testing procedures, one by one. Yes, sir. Lu Zhihui was thrilled. Lin Mo had already demonstrated the speed test, but Lu Zhihui still verified it running about half a lap around the testing ground. His pace was even faster than Lin Mo's demonstration. Next, agility test. Li Jingwu's expression tightened. The most critical part had arrived. Speed without agility meant drastically reduced combat effectiveness. Lu Zhihui took a deep breath. Recalling the verification steps, he began to dodge and weave. With each punch and kick, he fully unleashed the military close-quarters combat technique. A series of afterimages were left in the field. The dark mat-armored figure resembled a sci-fi assassin lurking in the shadows, even while bathed in sunlight. Every swift and venomous combat move seemed to pierce the hearts of the onlookers. Everyone present felt their hands and feet turn cold, their scalps tingling. Gasps of awe echoed one after another in the testing ground. The exhilarating sensation sent Lu Zhihui's adrenaline surging wildly. Awesome, this is freaking awesome. Lu Zhihui took frantic, deep breaths, exhaling several mouthfuls of stale air. Such a thrilling feeling. Even for him, a veteran Special Forces soldier who had tested countless individual exoskeleton armors, it felt utterly natural. There was no sense of bulkiness, only an incomparable smoothness. The flexibility test concluded. Lu Zhihui proceeded to the next verification. Following the standard procedure for individual exoskeleton comprehensive testing, strength test. He first tried the force-measuring equipment, finding it effortless. Looking around, he then charged straight for the cab of a truck used to transport research equipment. Approaching it, he gripped a suitable spot with both hands and tentatively applied force. Finding his strength more than sufficient, he exerted all his might. Deep blue flames shot from the nozzles at his arm joints. The 2-ton truck cab was lifted high by Lu Zhihui. This bizarre scene left everyone present utterly stunned. Lin Mo, what's going on? Li Jingwu panted heavily, unable to speak clearly. Lan Mingxing and Xiang Guangming beside him swallowed hard. Did such an exoskeleton armor truly exist? Lifting a truck cab. Was this still the real world? This was too absurd. Bang! A loud crash echoed as Lu Zhihui set down the truck cab. With a few quick bounces, he returned to the crowd. Removing the black helmet, the excitement on his face had not faded. His expression was exaggerated as he reporting to the commander. Verification complete. Jump height exceeds 4 meters, running speed exceeds 80 kilometers per hour. Flexibility exceeds the full score standard. Maximum load exceeds 3,000 kilograms. Hearing these figures, everyone was completely dumbfounded. In this world now, were science and principles being defied? Reporting to the commander. I have another major discovery. This exoskeleton armor might even be usable by ordinary people, and they won't get hurt at all. Lu Zhihui's voice continued. Li Jingwu instinctively objected. How is that possible? Exoskeleton armor must be used by Special Forces soldiers to function properly. That's common knowledge. Commander, it's true, or rather that common knowledge still applies. Lu Zhihui's tone was exceptionally firm. Previously developed individual exoskeleton armors generally suffered from poor joint flexibility. In layman's terms, it was a state of the person adapting to the armor. Only Special Forces soldiers with extraordinary physical fitness and adaptability could possibly use them normally, making them utterly impractical for actual combat. But this individual exoskeleton developed by classmate Lin Mo is different, Lu Zhihui said with a burning gaze. The flexibility of this exoskeleton armor is astonishing, achieving a state of the armor adapting to the person, completely eliminating the need for Special Forces level fitness. If the full score for individual exoskeleton flexibility is 100, then the score for normal usability is 60. While the best among the exoskeleton armors from previous projects barely scored 40. Unless the load was significantly reduced, and a Special Forces soldier with superior fitness and adaptability wore it, they could just barely reach 60. As for the flexibility of classmate Lin Mo's exoskeleton, my score is 180. Lan Mingxing couldn't hold it in anymore. You big brute, did a gym teacher teach you how to score? A perfect score of 100, and you give 180. Xiang Guangming couldn't help asking, Captain Lu, how did you come up with that score? Didn't you say the full score was 100? Lu Zhihui's voice trembled with excitement as he continued. What I meant by a full score of 100 for flexibility is the score for an exoskeleton armor that allows a Special Forces soldier to adapt perfectly. But the exoskeleton armor designed by Comrade Lin Mo is insane, absolutely insane. No exaggeration, it's crazier than any exoskeleton armor I've ever tested. During use, I felt no pressure at all and my muscles were completely relaxed. This proves that even ordinary people can use it. If used by experienced special operations forces, the combat effectiveness would increase exponentially. Even a score of 300, 500, or 1000 wouldn't be an overstatement. This is a revolutionary, game-changing piece of individual combat equipment. After hearing Lu Zhihui's words, the three big shots all turned to look at Lin Mo, waiting for his explanation. It's just a behavioral habit intelligent matching system, Lin Mo said helplessly. Examiners and leaders, I told you before I could demonstrate this armor myself, but you didn't believe me. Armor flexibility is a critical technical hurdle that must be overcome. How could I not have considered it? Everyone was speechless. Who didn't know that armor flexibility was one of the biggest challenges? Did knowing it mean it could be solved? So many PhD researchers had spent years trying to break through that technical barrier. A mere undergraduate like you, what right did you have? President Lu, please invite Professor Ai Chongfeng over. Let's hear his explanation. Xiang Guangming thought for a moment, then said helplessly to President Lu Qi of Huazhong University of Science and Technology, I reckon this is a prank he's specifically pulling on me. Everyone suddenly understood. It was all Ai Chongfeng's doing. He had been at odds with Xiang Guangming for a full decade, though still unable to accept it at least. It offered some solace. But solace be damned. How could Ai Chongfeng, a professor relegated to teaching at a university lacking even a project team, possibly have developed this? Soon Ai Chongfeng led Ren Xue to the podium. She stepped forward excitedly, gripping Lin Mo's arm tightly. She had so much to say but knew this was not the time, so she held her tongue. Her face flushed crimson from holding back. Ai Depeo, is this your way of getting back at me? Ai Chongfeng was shrewd. He understood the reason as soon as he was summoned. Enough, old Xiang. I haven't the leisure to seek revenge on you. Ai Chongfeng looked at Lin Mo, resigned. Until today, even I as his mentor had no idea that Lin Mo's new project would be such a triumph. Lin Mo, you'd better explain yourself. Ai Chongfeng finished speaking. The crowd was rooted to the spot in shock. It wasn't Ai Chongfeng's latest project. Was it truly developed by this undergraduate himself? WTF? Xiao Shui, what do you want to say? Li Jingwu noticed Ren Zuyi's flushed face as if she had something to say and quickly asked. Uncle Li, I was with Lin Mo the whole time he worked on this project. It was indeed accomplished by him alone. Our mentor had no part at all. Alone. Those who had barely managed to accept it now found themselves utterly unable to do so. Had this world truly abandoned science and its laws? Actually, there's not much to explain. My technical data is all in the lab. If you're interested, feel free to take a look. There were too many supporting materials. Lin Mo was too lazy to elaborate. They were all research elites. One glance would suffice. Let's go. Right now. Li Jingwu decided on the spot, issuing orders. This involves secrecy. Enforce temporary military control over the research testing ground. No one present is allowed to leave. Deputy Captain Liang, based on existing signal jamming capabilities, enhanced the full-band signal jamming within a 10-kilometer radius of the school. President Lu assign a vice president to oversee the proceedings here. Captain Lu, put the exoskeleton armor back in its equipment case and come with us. Li Jingwu, as the leader of the Supreme Military Region, was thorough in his considerations. With President Lu's assistance, he swiftly arranged all matters. Student Lin Mo, there's no time to lose. Lead the way. Lin Mo asked 3 examiners, does this mean my graduation project defense is suspended? Defense? What defense? My project is a combined one. I haven't demonstrated the miniature guided rocket. Who has time for your rocket now? Xiang Guangming said irritably. Clearly a project guided by Ai Depeo, not worth seeing. Ai Chongfeng was so angry he fumed. Lin Mo was speechless. Are you all underestimating my firepower system? Lan Mingqing turned to Lu Qi and instructed. President Lu, student Lin Mo's graduation project score will be set at the highest A level, but with a confidentiality level of SSS. The remaining projects that haven't been defended yet will be postponed. Let's move. No more dawdling. The Military Science and Technology Laboratory of Huaqa University was a kilometer from the test site. Led by Lin Mo, the group walked briskly. Rumble, rumble. As they neared the lab building, a roaring sound reached them. Lin Mo looked up. It was 3 armed helicopters. Fully armed Dragon Corps soldiers were rapidly rappelling down ropes from the helicopters. Uncle Li, is this an anti-terrorism drill? Ren Xue asked Li Jingwu weakly. Ai Chongfeng was also experiencing such a large-scale operation for the first time. That kid Lin Mo was really something. Under Li Jingwu's deployment, the Supreme Military Region swiftly mobilized Special Operations Forces to secure the Huaqa University lab building immediately. There must be no mistakes. Lin Mo's lab was on the first basement level. It was previously Ai Chongfeng's research lab, accessible only through a steel door with 3 layers of password protection. Opening the door, the interior space was over 1,000 square meters. Various giant precision machinery was neatly arranged throughout. A gas-powered stamping alloy forging workstation. An ultra-high precision laser cutting experimental machine. I say, Ai Depeo, you're living quite well. Lan Mingqiang exclaimed in admiration. You've actually set up such an advanced lab, it's almost comparable to my national-level key experimental center. AI Chongfeng snorted coldly, lifting his head proudly. These cutting-edge research instruments were treasures he had accumulated over many years. Without the right connections, even the purchase channels were inaccessible. Stop the nonsense. The most important thing now is Lin Mo's technical data. Xiang Guangming couldn't help saying. Pressured by the crowd, Lin Mo carried out a large pile of messy documents in a cardboard box and placed them all on the lab table. It contained the design drawings for all components of the Kunlun individual exoskeleton armor, as well as research manuals for key technologies like new alloy materials, energy power devices, intelligent central control systems, and firepower configuration. And also the daily experiment logs from the past 2 months. Student Lin Mo, you used this cardboard box to store these precious materials. Li Jingwu couldn't believe it. This is outrageous. Xiang Guangming said sternly. It's not Lin Mo's fault. It must be AI Chongfeng's poor guidance. He didn't even advise on something so important. If something happens to the technical data, how will we answer for it? AI Chongfeng, you are a disgrace to the nation. Lan Mingxing was also furious, right? A disgrace to the nation. It would be better if I taught him. Experimental data was the most precious and important thing. If not properly preserved, even if results were achieved, they might be impossible to replicate due to missing data. AI Chongfeng, standing by, felt like crying, but had no tears. How could he have taught him? He was always busy with classes, never expecting Lin Mo to be such a handful. Lin Mo was also speechless. With such limited time, only 2 months, when would he have the energy to organize all this material? Besides, he could always pull it from his system anytime. Why bother with the effort? Leaders don't dwell on these trivial details, Lin Mo said, pointing to his head with a meaningful tone. Besides, the most precious thing is right here in my mind. His confident words filled the assembly of research luminaries with a sense of the unyielding pride of a genius. The very pride they themselves had once possessed in their youth. Well said. You all keep bickering, I'll dive in first. Lan Mingxing charged ahead. He snatched the most critical design blueprints, cherishing them like a treasure, and began to study them intently with his team of researchers. Xiang Guangming, without another word, reached out only to find that Li Jingwu had already grabbed the essential research manuals and technical documents. Old Li, you sly dog, share with me. Xiang Guangming hurriedly squeezed and afraid of damaging the materials, so he had to peek over his shoulder to study together. AI Chongfeng tried to squeeze in, but found no room. He had to pick up the experiment log and review it with Ren Shui. The experts exchanged documents, utterly immersed in the ocean of technical knowledge. The more they read, the more thrilled they became. The deeper they studied, the more ecstatic they grew. Holy cow! What kind of genius could conceive such ideas? Oh my heavens! What sort of scientific marvel could devise such solutions and approaches? In this stack of technical documents, every bottleneck technology was detailed with fully reproducible solutions, and the design concepts were as imaginative as they were remarkably sound. Lan Mingxing grabbed his hair in frustration, falling into self-doubt. All the supporting technologies are mature and fully replicable. It's terrifying, absolutely terrifying. This alloy formula, the equations were there all along, the logic laid out. Why didn't I think of it? Why didn't I? Only now did these research giants truly realize how many era-defining black technologies were hidden in Lin Mo's prototype exoskeleton armor. Only now did they finally understand that so many cutting-edge configurations remained unimplemented. A genius, a genius. The only genius China has seen in a century. He's developed a brand new high-energy condensation power unit. Following this line of thought, I seem to see the future path of micronuclear fusion. In Lin Mo's presence, no one dares call themselves a genius. Xiang Guangming was utterly overwhelmed with awe. Li Jingwu pulled Lin Mo over and pointed at the firepower system manual, exclaiming in anguish, "Lin Mo, my boy, tell me. Look at this firepower system. As the core of a personal combat unit, it's the most critical system. Why isn't it installed? Why isn't it installed? Microelectromagnetic pulse cannons, micro-high-energy laser cannons. What kind of firepower are these? According to the design, the performance previously demonstrated accounted for less than a quarter of the full potential." Lin Mo waved his hand. I wanted to install them, but the budget was limited. Making it this far is already quite an achievement. Limited budget. All eyes turned to AI Chongfeng. Under the piercing gaze of dozens, AI Chongfeng felt like crying again. The kid never told me anything. He took $1 million and didn't even make a ripple. I thought his project had fizzled out. Suddenly, AI Chongfeng seemed to realize something, his face turning pale. Lin Mo, the budget I gave you was only $1 million. How did you manage this? When asked, Lin Mo felt a bit embarrassed. How could he admit he was living off a woman? It was me. Ren Shui jumped out, brimming with excitement. I knew my Lin Mo was the best. Right from the start, I sponsored him with $5 million. Li Jingwu and the other experts exchanged glances. That still wasn't enough, was it? adding up to only 6 million. What could that accomplish? Yes, without Senior Xuyi's support, this exoskeleton armor would never have been built. Li Jingwu seemed to grasp it, but still couldn't believe it. Lin Mo, are you saying you developed this exoskeleton armor with just 6 million? Lin Mo nodded. US dollars or Chinese yuan? Chinese yuan, of course. Li Jingwu swallowed hard and shook his head in disbelief. Impossible, absolutely impossible. What could 6 million do? For the national project's final exoskeleton, even a single helmet visor would cost more than that. Lin Mo had no choice but to produce the procurement list. Li Jingwu verified it repeatedly, finally arriving at the answer. It really was just 6 million. Coming to his senses, Li Jingwu was flushed with excitement. 6 million, only 6 million. Wonderful, truly wonderful. Li Jingwu was incoherent. Doesn't this mean the armor can be mass-produced? At 6 million per unit. 100 suits would cost only 6 billion, enough to equip 10 special operations squads. With the armor's power, it could dominate a small-scale local battle. And with just 60 billion, an entire 100-strong Special Operations Brigade could be fully outfitted. That's a military force capable of overthrowing a mid-sized nation. If back then my brothers had such invincible exoskeleton armor, third brother, a young old die, would those fallen comrades have died? Would they? Li Jingwu closed his reddened eyes, afraid that tears might fall. Lan Mingqing, an academician-level expert specializing in materials physics, spoke with a trembling voice. The new alloy material developed by Lin Mo uses very inexpensive raw metals, and the most crucial rare metal among them is a unique resource of our Huaxia. The cost can indeed be drastically reduced. Thinking about how absurdly low the production cost of this cross-generational exoskeleton armor was, Lan Mingqing felt in overwhelming excitement. As a material scientist, he understood the significance of this new alloy technology better than anyone. From what he knew, the individual exoskeleton previously developed by Huaxia had an exorbitant cost of up to 50 billion. And the more units produced, the higher the cost. Why? Because the metals used were extremely scarce, some even monopolized by the Eagle country. However, the new alloy material developed by Lin Mo was not only inexpensive, but also relied on a key metal, rare gold, of which Huaxia held over 90 of global reserves, forming a resource monopoly. At this thought, Lan Mingqing immediately instructed his secretary behind him. Xiao Lu, remember, the first thing later is to contact the Ministry of Commerce in my name. Starting today, cancel all rare gold foreign trade orders from the Eagle country and other Western nations. Include all rare gold in the strategic reserve materials list and ban its export. An hour later, the experts had meticulously read through every word of the technical documents. Everyone carefully organized and stacked all the materials. Their gazes at Lin Mo burned with fervor. They were now 100% certain that this tall, handsome young man was a super genius. A super genius capable of influencing Huaxia's national destiny. A gift bestowed upon Huaxia by heaven and its ancient sages. Lin Mo, let me formally introduce myself. I am Xiang Guangming, director of the Huaxia Nuclear Power Operation Research Institute. Now I sincerely invite you to join our institute with a guaranteed master's and doctoral program. All benefits will be at the highest standard for postdoctoral fellows, and you'll have the institute's top-level access. Whatever you need, I will fight for it on behalf of the nation. Micronuclear fusion concerns Huaxia's national destiny. Join us, and let's change Huaxia together. Xiang Guangming spoke solemnly. Furthermore, I formally apologize to Professor A.I. Chongfeng today. Professor A.I. specializes in high-energy physics and tactical missile research and has long coveted my institute. Today, I also formally invite Professor A.I. to join our institute as the chief engineer overseeing daily research affairs. After these words, the leaders of Huazhong University of Science and Technology were all shocked. The offer was too tempting. The gap between research institutes was often greater than that between humans and dogs. In a national-level nuclear power operation research institute, there were only 2 in all of Huaxia, and one was under Xiang Guangming. Not only would all national research resources and top-tier equipment be prioritized at the highest standard, but there was also direct access to the highest authorities. It was arguably the most favored of all scientific research institutions in Huaxia. Lin Mo was indeed a bit tempted. Hadn't he worked his hardest over the past 2 months to develop this individual exoskeleton armor precisely for this moment? The nation's top-tier resource support, plus higher power and status to implement strategic deterrence. Old Xiang Yu. A.I. Chongfeng, standing nearby, had a complex expression. 10 years ago, Xiang Guangming had pushed him out of the power center, preventing him from realizing his ambitions. But he had also left him a dignified position, which was rare among those who lost in power struggles. And today, Xiang Guangming offered him another chance. Chief engineer of the Nuclear Power Operation Research Institute. This position was not only his dream, but more importantly, it meant returning to the high ranks with a voice. Old Xiang, no, I absolutely cannot go to your place. Lan Mingqing panicked. He had been immersed in thoughts of how to apply the new alloy to other military uses and was a bit slow to react. Who knew Xiang Guangming would start poaching talent? And he was even taking both the master and the disciple, creating a bond. Your micronuclear fusion project isn't even off the ground yet. How can it compare to coming to me? Lin Mo, let me formally introduce myself too. I am Lan Mingqing, director of the National Key Laboratory for Materials Physics. Although my lab can't match old Xiang's institute in terms of hardware and software across the board, but Lan Mingqing raised his head proudly, looking at everyone. We have money. Our lab possesses countless alloy material patents and oversees over 20 strategic resource state-owned enterprises. We have over $1 trillion in resources at our disposal. Old Xiang's institute may seem high-end, but its annual research funds depend on national financial allocations. What about us? Not only do we never need funding from the state, but we also subsidize other research institutes every year. Do you know what others call us? The Patron Center. Lan Mingqing looked at Lin Mo earnestly and said, Lin Mo, the fact that you alone developed a cross-generational exoskeleton armor shows that your genius level is far beyond needing advanced research institutes for further study. What you need is a platform to realize your ideas, ample project funding, and smooth resource channels. Come to me. I will personally review the funding for each of your projects, prioritize all resource channels, and set the highest limits to match national-level major projects. Hearing Lan Mingqing's words, Xiang Guangming's expression changed. This advantage was indeed something other research institutes could never compete with. Who could compare with the Materials Physics Laboratory, which controlled all of Huaxia's strategic basic resources in terms of project funding and resource channels? At this moment, Lin Mo also began to feel conflicted. Lan Mingqing, as expected of an academician, had a knack for cutting straight to the heart of the matter. He truly had no need for the empty titles of a master's or doctorate, nor for further academic pursuits. His technical expertise was all within his mind. However, the Material Physics Experiment Center was, after all, an applied research facility situated in the northwestern region of Huaxia. In terms of power and status, it was worlds apart from the Nuclear Power Operation Research Institute. To execute strategic deterrence externally, he had to be backed by the state and possess a certain degree of authoritative voice. For a moment, Lin Mo was uncertain how to decide. Just then, Li Jingwu, who had remained silent all along, spoke with a cheerful chuckle. Excuse me, you two big shots, in all your wrangling, have you forgotten something? Have you forgotten that I am the director of the Supreme Military Region's General Armament Department, a 2-star general? Have you forgotten what Lin Mo's major is? Xiang Guangming and Lan Mingqing, jolted by the reminder, their faces changed dramatically, and they exclaimed in unison. Li Jingwu, how dare you? Li Jingwu burst into loud laughter. Why wouldn't I dare? I certainly dare. Lin Mo, bewildered, was also somewhat dazed. Here, your chosen major is military science and technology, correct? Yes, Director Li. Li Jingwu grinned with particular delight. When filling out your college application preferences, this major falls under the early admission batch, did you know? I did. Hearing this, Lin Mo had already grasped Li Jingwu's implication. Li Jingwu continued with a genial chuckle. The Military Science and Technology Program is a specialized talent program established by the Supreme Military Region of Huaxia. The recruited college students are reserve national defense students. Before enrollment, you all signed relevant agreements. After graduation, if you have no intention of pursuing further studies, you must enlist and receive the rank of second lieutenant. And as a leader of the Supreme Military Region, I possess a special authority. Li Jingwu swept his gaze across everyone, emanating an air of authority. For all national defense students nationwide, if the Supreme Military Region requires it, I can conscript them at any time without any conditions. The others were rendered speechless. They had overlooked this point. Old Li, you must understand, a forced bargain is seldom sweet. Xiang Guangming glared at Li Jingwu as he spoke. If you dare forcibly conscript Lin Mo, I will be irreconcilably opposed to you. He'll sever all ties forever. Lan Mingqing's tone was equally harsh. They knew that if they didn't resist, Lin Mo would be whisked away by Li Jingwu in no time. Ha ha ha. Old Li here always prefers to convince people with reason. I never intended to use the power of forced conscription from the start. Li Jingwu looked at Lin Mo, brimming with confidence. Lin Mo, some of the conditions old Xiang and old Lan mentioned, the Supreme Military Region certainly cannot provide. But as the director of the Supreme Military Region's General Armament Department, I have ample power and resources at my disposal. First, I can specifically apply for a national-level project for you, with you as the lead, and establish a research institute of your own within the Supreme Military Region. Although a newly established institute will certainly be far inferior to their academician-level research centers, you will have full autonomy over all its affairs with no constraints to hinder you. Second, as soon as you join the General Armament Department, I will immediately appoint you as Deputy Chief Engineer. You will have the authority to participate in all military science and technology projects. Third, once you have military status, I will personally commend your achievements. Given your contributions to Wuxia's military industry, you fully merit a first-class merit. Then I will do everything in my power to ensure your rapid promotion. If you follow me, I will devote all my efforts to grooming you, guaranteeing your ascent to a position of substantial power. Are these conditions satisfactory? I won't force you, the choice is yours. When these conditions were laid out, even Xiang Guangming and Lan Mingxing were stunned. Li Jingwu had essentially leveraged all his available resources and authority to the maximum extent. Many of these conditions were not within Li Jingwu's current purview. He would have to fight for them. This conveyed a deeper meaning. Li Jingwu's offer was not merely a promise, but a declaration of intent. A declaration to groom Lin Mo as his successor. Listening to these terms, Lin Mo grew even more confused. The conditions Li Jingwu offered were in fact far less favorable than those from the other two academicians. For instance, establishing a research institute for him. That was still a mere pipe dream. Moreover, joining the Supreme Military Region would inevitably mean less freedom compared to other research institutes. Having been reborn while he was still determined to strive for Wuxia's resurgence, he also hoped to seize the opportunity to enjoy life a little. After all, the system had given him so much that he no longer needed to push himself as relentlessly as before. He recalled his past life, where by his 30s he hadn't even held a woman's hand, let alone had a wife. He had only seen the country's magnificent landscapes through his phone screen. Esteemed leaders, may I have a few more days to consider? Lin Mo ultimately decided to deliberate carefully and seek counsel from his mentor, Professor AI. Very well, you certainly need to think it over thoroughly. Upon hearing this, the three bigwigs readily agreed. Each harbored their own calculations, planning to exhaust all their connections and resources over the coming days to increase their leverage and secure Lin Mo for themselves. All of Lin Mo's technical materials will be temporarily held by the Supreme Military Region. The laboratory will be completely sealed off and placed under military control. Everyone present today must sign a triples-level confidentiality agreement and immediately proceed to the Supreme Military Region for security training and espionage screening. Given the urgency, I hope for your understanding. Li Jingwu instructed the university leadership of Huazhong University of Science and Technology. President Liu Qi smiled wryly and said, Director Li, those of us here are manageable, just over 20 people. But there are several thousand people at the test site. Confidentiality work won't be easy. Li Jingwu replied with a smile, continue with the established confidentiality protocols for the test site. Those people are not important. Upon hearing this, Liu Qi was perplexed. Not important. With so many observers at the test site, it's virtually impossible to prevent leaks. Even with confidentiality measures, a leak is almost inevitable. How can they be unimportant? Li Jingwu laughed heartily. You old Liu, after all these years, you still don't get it. I want them to leak information. Furthermore, I'm going to give them a push, stir the pot a bit, and let a little more slip out. At Li Jingwu's words, Liu Qi was stunned, and the others were equally at a loss. Since he wasn't afraid of leaks, why bother with a confidentiality agreement? At that moment, Xiang Guangming spoke up. Everyone stopped guessing. Old Li is full of tricks. He's probably got some nasty surprises in store for the Eagles and their ilk. Lan Mingxing couldn't hold back. No way, Old Li, you've got to be clearer. Don't leave me hanging. Li Jingwu had originally planned not to say much. But upon reflection, all those present would be under close surveillance by the Supreme Military Region for the foreseeable future, so he decided to lay it out plainly. Focus on the main contradiction, concentrate on the key objective. Let me ask you, what's the purpose of secrecy? Li Jingwu said. Secrecy is to safeguard national security and interests. If a matter that originally required confidentiality upon comprehensive consideration would better serve national security and interests by being leaked, then why maintain secrecy? Those present were lost in thought. Regarding the individual exoskeleton armor developed by classmate Lin Mo, how much of its performance was demonstrated at the test site? Less than half. And the configurations not installed are the very core, like the most crucial firepower system, none of which was shown. In essence, today's exoskeleton armor is merely a semi-finished product. Using a semi-finished product to mislead hostile forces. Could there be a better vehicle than these spectators? Everyone suddenly understood. So that's it. Li Jingwu continued with a smile. The Eagle Nation and its Western Alliance allies are no fools. Trying to cover up only ends in self-deception. What we need to do is to pretend to advance along one path, while secretly going another. To make them believe it, we must adopt necessary secrecy measures to strictly prevent leaks, then let it leak under unavoidable circumstances. At the same time, after the leak, we must immediately remedy it. Arrest those who need arresting, make official announcements as needed. As for the complete version of the exoskeleton armor, well, later develop. What does it have to do with the semi-finished product displayed outside? Lan Mingxing slapped his thigh. Damn, you're the sly one. Oldly, you old silver fox, I'm not playing with you anymore. One day you'll trick me into being sold, and they'll still be counting the money for you. The university leaders of Huacan nodded in approval. Compared to Li Jingwu, a high-ranking leader of the supreme military region, they who were dedicated to education were simply naive and pure. Xiang Guangming smiled faintly. As the saying goes, he's still the director of our Strategic Deterrence Bureau. Upon hearing this, everyone burst into laughter. The speaker had no intention, but the listener took it to heart. Lin Mo abruptly raised his head to look at Li Jingwu. What had he just heard? Strategic Deterrence Bureau. Director. Such an organization existed. Chiefly, what exactly is this Strategic Deterrence Bureau? Lin Mo asked hastily. Li Jingwu looked at Lin Mo in surprise. Why was the kid so excited? What are you interested in my Strategic Deterrence Bureau? Yes, very much so. Li Jingwu introduced with a smile. The Strategic Deterrence Bureau is a military intelligence and covert propaganda agency established years ago by the Supreme Military Region. It operates as a substantive entity, sharing the same team and dual banners with the General Armament Department, and the director is usually the chief of the General Armament Department. Its main purpose is to launch maximum propaganda offensives without exposing core military intelligence, safeguarding China's dignity, and deterring hostile forces. Lin Mo asked curiously, why is the director typically the chief of the General Armament Department? Li Jingwu laughed heartily and elaborated. How can one execute strategic deterrence without understanding our own military equipment? Last year, when our Jian 25th generation stealth fighter completed its maiden flight, the propaganda campaign was our handiwork. Engage with conventional means achieve victory through surprise. Without our efforts over the past year to maximize deterrence externally, while ensuring maximum secrets were not compromised, the Eagle Nation's suppression and containment would have intensified by now. At the very least, on the issue of the South Sea waters, it would not be as calm as it is now, and the Eagle Nation wouldn't have needed to push neighboring countries into symbolic negotiations. Because within the flight range of the Jian 20, China can no longer be bullied. Lin Mo suddenly understood, and excitement followed. He hadn't expected China to have such a formal unit. It was practically a state institution tailor-made for him. He suddenly felt like he'd found his place. In that instant, many things became clear in Lin Mo's mind. Today's China is surrounded by enemies. The Eagle Nation, feeling its hegemony threatened, has allied with Western nations to suppress China by any means, having long dropped all pretense. So-called freedom is nothing but a fig leaf. The path to rise has never been easy. Even for him, a reborn man with a system development takes time. As he continues to develop cutting-edge technologies, targeted retaliation will come swiftly. Only by joining China's highest military organization can he ensure a stable research environment. The Strategic Deterrence Bureau, for him, sharing the same team and dual banners with the General Armament Department, is both the main department responsible for all military equipment and a strategic unit for external deterrence. It's as if it were custom-made for him. What choice was there? With that thought, Lin Mo made his decision and looked at Li Jingwu. Chiefly, may I join the Strategic Deterrence Bureau? Lin Mo's sudden decision surprised even Li Jingwu. Are you serious? Classmate Lin Mo, you need to understand, joining the Strategic Deterrence Bureau means joining the General Armament Department of the Supreme Military Region. Xiang Guangming and Lan Mingcheng were caught off guard and grew anxious. Hadn't he just said he'd think it over? Why was he suddenly heading to the General Armament Department? Lin Mo was young and impulsive. Was he being fooled by Li Jingwu's big talk? Classmate Lin Mo, don't rush into a decision now. In the next few days, we can try to secure some new conditions for you. Don't let your enthusiasm get the better of you only to regret it later. Lin Mo shook his head. No matter what new conditions were offered, none could match the advantage of joining the Strategic Deterrence Bureau. Academician Xiang, Academician Lan, I truly apologize. Lin Mo declared solemnly. My purpose in pursuing scientific research is not for wealth or status, but to use my achievements to strike down any shameless nation that dares to bully our Huaxia. Whoever reaches out a hand, I will sever it. Whoever dares to stick out their head, I will chop it off. My aspiration is to let Huaxia truly stand at the pinnacle among nations, so that the petty villains who harbor hostility toward Huaxia dare not even raise their eyes. This is also why I chose military science and technology as my major and Professor AI Chongfeng as my mentor. The responsibilities and positioning of the Strategic Deterrence Bureau align with my life philosophy. I truly apologize, both academicians, but my heart has already made its decision. Lin Mo, with an apologetic expression, declined Lan Mingcheng and Xiang Guangming. Then, turning to Li Jingwu, he said solemnly, Chiefly, I request to join the Supreme Military Region Strategic Deterrence Bureau. Please grant your approval. Hearing these heartfelt declarations, everyone present was moved by Lin Mo. AI Chongfeng was especially stirred. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Truly a student worthy of my teaching. Ren Shui's face flushed slightly as well, as a seasoned patriot. Lin Mo's words resonated with her soul, bringing a sense of joy. Li Jingwu nodded with satisfaction. This was the ambition and spirit the new generation of Huaxia youth should possess. Lin Mo, your request is approved. From this moment on, you are a member of the Supreme Military Region's General Armament Department Strategic Deterrence Bureau. Seeing this, Lan Mingxing could only shake his head and sigh deeply. Alas, watching such a super genius slip away right before our eyes. Old Xiang, tonight, let us drown our sorrows in drink and pour out our hearts. Xiang Guangming looked utterly disgusted. Get lost, old Xiang you. Lan Mingxing glared, his beard bristling with anger. Academician Xiang, Academician Lin Mo has some ideas and hopes for your approval. Lin Mo's sincere words surprised Xiang Guangming and Lan Mingxing. Student Lin Mo, speak freely. Xiang Guangming said. First, Academician Xiang, Lin Mo began looking at Xiang Guangming. I hope to receive most of the conditions you just promised, including my guaranteed master's and doctoral programs, nuclear resource supply, top-level research institute access, and my mentor's position as chief engineer. Perhaps these are not enough, and you may need to add more. At these words, everyone present changed expression. This Lin Mo had truly an enormous appetite. How could he still demand benefits after leaving? Seeing Xiang Guangming's displeased expression, Li Jingwu quickly stepped in to mediate. Lin Mo, will find a way to provide the resources you need. Don't covet old Xiang's few possessions. Now that Lin Mo was his treasured protege, he didn't want him to offend a heavyweight academician and make his future path difficult. Xiang Guangming snorted coldly. These are no mere trifles, others can't obtain them even in a lifetime. My resources are precious and not to be given lightly. Lin Mo smiled faintly. Academician Xiang, wouldn't you like to hear my terms? Xiang Guangming was slightly surprised, a glint of sharpness flashing in his eyes. Student Lin Mo, as a super genius, no one would dare ignore your thoughts. Speak freely. Lin Mo raised 3 fingers. 3 years. Within 3 years, I will deliver miniature-controlled nuclear fusion technology to be shared with the Nuclear Power Operation Research Institute, in exchange for all your conditions. What a... Xiang Guangming's breathing grew heavy. Student Lin Mo, do you understand what you're saying? Academician Xiang, I stand by my words. Miniature. Controlled nuclear fusion. Yes. Xiang Guangming stared intently at Lin Mo for a long time. Suddenly, he slammed the table. Excellent. In your research notes, I've already seen the path to miniature-controlled nuclear fusion, but the journey ahead is long. At least 20 years or more to realize it. 3 years. From anyone else, I'd dismiss it as a joke. Even from you, I find it hard to believe. But I'll take the gamble. I agree to all your demands. My Nuclear Power Operation Research Institute will unconditionally fulfill them. Lin Mo nodded. He said with full confidence, saying 3 years is a conservative estimate. My own plan is to achieve it within 1 year. If I fail, I'll double all the resources you've given me as compensation. What? 1 year? Hearing this seemingly fantastical statement, Xiang Guangming was utterly stunned. Did he think it was some simple little project? Controlled nuclear fusion miniature in 1 year. How could he dare? But then Xiang Guangming recalled the power unit Lin Mo designed for the exoskeleton armor, which had already resolved many major challenges from various angles. The design approach was also highly forward-thinking, as if prepared for future upgrades. Perhaps he really could make it happen. In the end, he could only shake his head and sigh. Truly, heroes emerge from youth. Ooh, I am indeed old. Lin Mo then turned to Lan Mingxing. Lan Mingxing said cheerfully, Student Lin Mo, whatever you need, just ask. I'll agree unconditionally. He knew that new alloy materials were the foundation of industrial research, but even a genius like Lin Mo would find it difficult to develop new alloys in a short time. Nevertheless, he was willing to support Lin Mo unconditionally. Not just out of admiration for the young man, but more because he was so wealthy that all he had left was money. Lin Mo hadn't expected Lan Mingxing to offer such unconditional support without even asking for terms. Thank you, Academician Lan. Lin Mo said gratefully. Hey Race, my plan, the new rare titanium alloy I developed should become cutting-edge military material, and the state will procure it in large quantities. I intend to license the patent for this new alloy to your Materials Physics Experiment Center. You will handle the commercial operations, and after deducting all costs, well, split the net profit 50-50. I just need your necessary support. License it to me. Lan Mingxing couldn't believe it at first, then burst into ecstasy. This was a business worth trillions. Ha ha ha, I never expected you, Lin Mo, to have such a generous heart. Fine. 50-50. And from now on, whatever high-precision materials you need, just tell me. No one in all of Huaxia has broader resource channels than Old Lan. Even if you want mud from a 10-to-sand-meter ocean trench, they'll find a way to get it for you. Lin Mo was also exceedingly thrilled. Now, even if the system unlocked technologies requiring some obscure unheard-of alloy materials, with Lan Mingxing a material magnate, there was no need to worry at all. By leveraging 2 new technologies, he had turned 2 academicians into his allies through mutual interests, a truly lucrative deal. Old Xiang, you were hesitant before about coming, but now you see it was absolutely the right choice. Ha ha ha. Xiang Guangming expressed his utmost satisfaction. With Lin Mo's promise, I feel at ease. Though I still find it hard to believe, I sincerely hope to see Lin Mo achieve controlled nuclear fusion within a year. It will lead our Huaxia into a new era of energy and industrial revolution, reshaping the global order. Witnessing this in my lifetime would be more than enough. Isn't that right, old AI, my chief general designer? AI Chongfeng looked disgusted. We are enemies. Who the hell agreed to go to your nuclear power operation research institute? There's no way I'm going. The three luminaries were thoroughly satisfied. A graduation project defense session at Houyi University, originally more symbolic than practical, had yielded unexpectedly immense gains. Let's go, everyone. Except for Lin Mo, the rest of you need to follow me. Li Jingwu beckoned with a smile. Next, we'll undergo confidentiality training and espionage tests at the Supreme Military Region. He'll join you to revisit the security protocols. Please forgive the inconvenience. At the research testing ground, thousands were anxiously waiting in the observation area. As noon approached, the sun blazed down, making the weather increasingly sweltering. What the hell is going on? Why did those leaders suddenly leave? Are we having the defense or not? Yeah, they won't let us leave either. I skipped breakfast to come here, and now I'm starving. This is infuriating. No cell signal either. I've never seen anything so disgusting. If I'd known, I wouldn't have come. One of them shushed the crowd. Stop complaining, guys. Can't you see the Dragon Army soldiers have placed the site under military control? It must be because of that exoskeleton armor designed by the graduate Lin Mo. The technology is too advanced, so they need to keep it under wraps. At this, the crowd, which had run out of topics, perked up again. Someone nudged their neighbor and asked curiously, Xiuqi, aren't you Lin Mo's roommate? Tell us more about his story. Su Xiuqi suppressed the sorrow of getting a D on his graduation project, adjusted his thick-rimmed glasses, and raised his head proudly. You've come to the right person. In this school, I'm the one who knows Lin Mo best. Over the past few months, Lin Mo has never returned to the dorm because of his research. He eats meals brought by his girlfriend and sleeps on the floor in the lab. If he doesn't succeed, who will? Damn, this Lin Mo is a real workaholic, someone exclaimed. Yeah. Xiuqi, do you know which year Lin Mo was born and where he's from? Of course. Lin Mo is from Jiangxing, 21 years old, and was the top scorer in Jiangxing that year. He's an only child. His father seems to be a retired military officer who transferred to some unit. I forgot which. His mother seems to be a middle school math teacher. Everyone chatted animatedly, sharing Lin Mo's past and experiences. Unbeknownst to them, in a seat not far behind, a male student quietly recorded every word of the conversation about Lin Mo. His recording method was so unique that unless one was a professional, any inspection would mistake it for class notes. Soon after, a loudspeaker sounded from the podium. Vice President Liang of Houyi University, his voice tinged with excitement, echoed across the testing ground. Dear students and friends from other schools, on behalf of Houyi University, I apologize for keeping you all confined here for so long. As for the reason, I believe you've all guessed by now. Yes, I am immensely excited. As the Vice President of Houyi University, I feel incredibly honored. During my tenure, our school has produced a super genius who has developed such extraordinary world-leading cutting-edge military technology. The individual exoskeleton armor. As you all witnessed, the technology researched by Lin Mo, seemingly from a sci-fi movie or a future world, has practicality far beyond the scope of individual combat equipment. I believe that soon it will cross the threshold from military to civilian use, becoming a true national treasure. It will also lead global technological progress, guiding all of humanity into a new future. Vice President Liang, with his background in ideological work, had a highly compelling voice. He stirred the emotions of everyone present. Some students stood up, excitedly cheering loudly. Seeing the atmosphere sufficiently heated, Vice President Liang shifted his tone, speaking gravely. For this reason, the technology needs protection, and our country needs time. Under Professor A's full guidance, Lin Mo developed the exoskeleton technology, but it still has many flaws. The smooth demonstration was due to both the efforts of Professor AI and Lin Mo and a bit of luck. Therefore, we need to impose a comprehensive top-level lockdown on all information regarding this technology. Everyone here must sign a triple-level confidentiality agreement. Not even family members can be told anything about the exoskeleton armor. All your phones will be checked and formatted with all content completely deleted. Finally, I apologize once again and ask for your understanding. All of this is for the rise of Huaxia, for the future of Huaxia. Thank you all. As Vice President Liang's words ended, thunderous applause erupted within the testing ground. Some students shouted, "We must understand. We absolutely must. Long live China. Long live Houyi University. Long live Lin Mo." Seeing that the speech had achieved its goal, Vice Principal Liang communicated with Deputy Captain Zhou of the Supreme Military Region's Special Operations Force. They began having everyone present sign confidentiality agreements one by one. It was not until 3 in the afternoon that everyone had signed and the military control and signal jamming were officially lifted. Damn, I'm starving to death. You're talking too much, you can't be that hungry yet. I'm off. The famished university students rushed to the cafeteria to eat. Meanwhile, those from outside the school had to eat out. Everyone sighed, saying it was indeed a worthwhile trip, but they would never come again. If they did come again, they would bring their own food. A third-year male student, however, wasn't in a hurry to go to the cafeteria. He returned to his dorm, boiled some water, and brewed a bucket of pickled beef noodles. Then he opened his laptop and connected his phone. With a few operations, the pictures and videos that had been completely deleted were restored. This is it, the boy exclaimed excitedly while slurping his noodles. He set down the noodles and quickly logged into a forum. He drafted a sensational post title and uploaded all the photos and videos. Warning, warning. This is not a sci-fi movie. Exoskeleton armored soldier exposed. The developer is actually a college student. The post quickly gained traction. However, the blurry video footage led many to question its authenticity. What the hell? This black alloy armor is way too cool. What kind of nonsense is this lifting a truck? Damn, it's fake, right? Are you saying this isn't a sci-fi movie? You idiot, why didn't you zoom in? It's too far away to see clearly. In the video, a person clad in dark matte alloy armor moved like a futuristic warrior from a sci-fi film, maneuvering swiftly across the testing ground. Every frame was explosive. Meanwhile, at the Supreme Military Region in the Strategic Deterrence Bureau on the 3rd floor of the General Equipment Department building. Report to the director. As of now, we have detected 3 instances of sensitive public opinion regarding the exoskeleton armor. The information sources are from Building B11 of Houyi University's campus, the Galley Group Office Building, and Building No. 5 of UND Residential Area. A military officer wearing headphones reported via phone. Shortly after, a voice came back through the receiver. Proceed with the original plan. Roger that. At Houyi University's dormitory, the boy was engaged in a heated argument on the forum. The vast majority of people insisted it was fake, claiming it must be from a sci-fi movie, and even insulted his family. The boy couldn't help but curse. Are you all idiots? Can't you see the surroundings? They're all students and so many leaders. Who has the time to shoot a sci-fi movie just for you? The boy gathered every curse word he had ever learned, even looking up some new ones ready to hurl them all back. Suddenly, the dormitory door was kicked open. Several Dragon Army soldiers burst in. Hua Feng, you are suspected of leaking top national secrets. Come with us. The student named Hua Feng turned pale. He was so terrified that he wet himself. At the same time, the leakers from the Galley Group and UND Residential Area were also invited to the military region for tea. Report to the director, the leakers have been apprehended. Shall we initiate the next phase? Execute immediately. Yes, sir. At 7 o'clock that evening, during the prime time, when everyone had finished dinner and was enjoying entertainment. Check Weibo, there's breaking news. What? What breaking news? Which celebrity got caught using drugs or cheating? Show me. See for yourself, it's the top trending topic. At that moment, the top 3 trending topics on Weibo all had the explosive tag. Trending 1, live video of China's black tech revealed the armored warrior is super cool. Trending 2, lifting a 2-ton truck cab. And you still say this isn't a sci-fi movie. Trending 3, military expert, it's cutting-edge individual power exoskeleton armor technology. The live video, especially the explosive clips, was made into short videos and GIF memes by netizens and spread wildly across the Weibo platform. The armored warrior's speed rivals a sports car, swift as the wind. The armored warrior leaps several meters into the air. The moment the armored warrior lifts the truck. With countless netizens reposting frantically, within just 1 hour, the entire Weibo platform exploded like a powder keg. Especially since some videos were deleted by the platform as soon as they were posted, and topics that briefly surged to trending were suppressed to the bottom of the list only to be pushed back up by netizens. This only fueled everyone's curiosity. The heat of related topics kept rising, occupying 8 of the top 10 trending spots. Even a trending topic about a top celebrity scandal was pushed down to 7th place. Among the countless related videos, the most popular one had garnered over 2 million likes and over 6,000 shares. The comments below were a mixed bag, with a large majority expressing doubt. It's definitely fake. Who believes this kind of video? Wearing armor lets you lift a truck. Do you have any idea how heavy a truck cab is? Do you take people for fools? Hey, race, a joke videos can't be photoshopped, so this must be real serious face. Haha, believe it or not, I don't. On the other hand, some netizens full of confidence in China, or those who observed carefully, expressed their views. You're all idiots. Where do you see any cameras or wire rigs? How could this be a stage video? It's obviously real. This is a hastily shot video. Look closely. The phone is shaking. How could it be fake? The rise of China, breaking through the sanctions. The news continued to spread not just on Weibo, but also through platforms like QQ WeChat and Tushio. The comments on the related videos were refreshing rapidly. At this moment, a famous influencer with 3 million followers, Great Power Arc, reposted the video with a caption. Some people must have just had their fill. Isn't it a bit too early to be dreaming? The US has nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, manned moon landings, and fifth-generation stealth fighters with a technological level far surpassing China's by generations. Even they haven't developed so-called exoskeleton armor. Someone asked for my opinion, so I'll say this: if you're making a sci-fi movie, you can be a bit more imaginative. With a well-known pro-American intellectual officially posting, many spiritual Americans gathered in the comments section like flies to honey, starting a carnival. A bunch of mindless nationalists were just attacking me. It's hilarious. With China as backward as it is now, it'll take at least another 50 years to catch up to America's technological level. America's liberal education can nurture super geniuses. Your country's exam-oriented education can only produce a bunch of high-scoring, low-ability wastes. I'll say it right now, if this stupid video is real, I'll livestream myself eating shit upside down. Great Arc also joined the fray, pinning the comment about live streaming the consumption of excrement and replying, "What a pity, brother. I doubt anyone would dare to take that bet. Seems a bit unfair." A crowd of people chimed in below. Some mischievous netizens eager for the spectacle added their own comments. "If you can't finish it, it'll take over. If the guy above can't finish, he'll continue." Initially, most people were uncertain whether the armored warrior in the video was real or fake, as several prominent public intellectuals successively came out to criticize. Some major influencers even posted comparisons of the current technological levels between Eagle Country and Huaxia, captioning it, "What makes Huaxia think they can? What gives you the audacity?" The number of likes once reached hundreds of thousands. The vast majority of netizens had already concluded it was all a farce. They turned on the TV to watch a series, treating it as a joke. However, 3 hours after the trending topic had been fermenting, at 10:30 in the evening, the official Weibo account of the Supreme Military Region Huaxia Military Industry released a message. Exoskeleton armor. Huaxia Military Industry, our nation's latest generation of individual soldier-powered exoskeleton armor, has completed its trials and achieved a resounding success. In the video, with a blue background and white text, there were only words, no images. Too advanced to be displayed. Only 3 parameters of the individual soldier exoskeleton armor are released to the public. Maximum load capacity 3,000 kilograms. Sprint speed 80 km/h. Armor flexibility meets actual combat standards. Once this official message was released, it dominated the top trending spot across all major social media platforms. This formal announcement from Huaxia's Supreme Military Region ignited the entire internet. The comments section was instantly flooded with tens of thousands of posts. Holy crap, am I seeing this right? 3,000 kilograms, 3 tons. Damn, 3 tons of load. No wonder that armored warrior could lift a truck single-handedly. He's about to become Huaxia's Iron Man. I must be dreaming. The country says it built an Iron Man suit. Time to sleep some more. The Dragon Army is mighty. Huaxia rises. It must be incredibly expensive, flashy, but not practical, but it's still a great breakthrough. Just hope it can be deployed soon. Those famous influencers and public intellectuals were left somewhat embarrassed. Even the authorities had stepped in. And these outrageous parameters. How was that possible? The comment thread about the bet was also instantly bombarded with replies. Many people came out of curiosity. Waiting for the live stream. Liars will be exposed. Always trying to scam a free meal. Checking in for the iconic scene, waiting for a review of the taste. Hold on, I had a super spicy hot pot today. If you're eating, take mine. As the account owner, Great Arc, was even more embarrassed now. However, because he had said it, so that only followers could comment, his follower count was skyrocketing. In just over 10 minutes, he gained hundreds of thousands of followers. Great Arc had a sudden idea. Instead, he reposted the comment about the bet, adding, "To be fair to this brother, Huaxia Military Industry hasn't released a demonstration video, so they can't prove the leaked video is real. Therefore, he wins." Boom. Could anyone be so shameless? If the leaked video weren't real, why would Huaxia Military Industry release a statement right now? Within a few minutes, the comment section was filled with tens of thousands of insults. Great Arc was ecstatic. His follower count was about to break 4 million. He pressed on, posting a series of messages. In the past, even experimental models were heavily promoted. How come now they can't even release a single picture? What are they afraid of? Mature military technology must have a development process. It's impossible not to have pictures. This shows the official announcement isn't credible. The more the netizens cursed, the more vigorously he trolled. His follower count surged accordingly, quickly reaching 4 million. Great Arc couldn't help but laugh out loud. Could things really be this good? He aimed for 5 million followers today. What's going on? He continued editing a scathing post, ready to send it. But he found he couldn't post it. Thinking his phone was broken, he logged out and back in. To his shock, his account page displayed, "This user has been temporarily muted for violating laws and community guidelines." What? Great Arc turned pale. An account with millions of followers being muted was his primary source of income. His mind cleared instantly. The more he thought about it, the sadder and more regretful he became. The official announcement had been made, yet he still went to criticize them. Wasn't he just looking for trouble? When he tried to log in again to delete some of his posts, he discovered he couldn't log into his Weibo account at all. He hurriedly logged into his alt account and searched for his main account. Account has been deactivated. Great Arc collapsed onto the sofa. It's all over. Early morning in the Western Hemisphere. Far away across the ocean in Eagle Country. Director, this is the latest intelligence from Huaxia. At the Eagle Country Intelligence Bureau, Director Smith sat at his desk taking the materials handed to him by his subordinate. "Lisa, when did this come in?" Director Smith, 3 hours ago. That would be between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. Huaxia time. Secretary Lisa reported gravely. "Based on information gathered from Huaxia's networks and data from our intelligence network spies, we can confirm that individual soldier exoskeleton armor technology has been developed by Huaxia. The armor's performance has reached an almost inconceivable level." Smith remained composed, flipping through the documents as he asked. "The report says the project developer is a recent undergraduate named Lin Mo, majoring in military technology at Houyi University. Is that confirmed?" Lisa replied, "Based on all intelligence, it's highly likely this cutting-edge technology was actually completed by his mentor, released under the student's name for reasons unknown. And his mentor is an old acquaintance of ours. A quintessential representative of Huaxia's hawkish faction, AI Chongfeng." Smith nodded. He continued to carefully read through all the materials, then placed them on the desk. "I must admit, our old adversary, dear Professor AI Chongfeng, does have some real skill. It's just a pity that Professor AI will never work for us." Smith took the hot coffee from his secretary. He said calmly, "However, the data released by Huaxia likely has the handiwork of the Strategic Deterrence Bureau all over it. 3,000 kilograms. If I don't believe a word of it. It's probably another ploy from that Strategic Deterrence Bureau. But regardless, this military technology has the potential to change the global balance of military power and deserves our utmost attention. Lisa, compile all this intelligence into a special report and submit it to the White House immediately with a copy to the Pentagon. We must exhaust every possible means to acquire this technology. Our various containment strategies against Huaxia must also be reassessed." "Yes, Director." China Standard Time. Midnight that very day. Lin Mo, who had been busy all day and was about to sleep in the lab, suddenly heard a crisp sound ring in his mind. "Ding. You have successfully executed strategic intimidation against the Eagle Country, forcing it to alter its strategy toward China. You have gained 2,000 prestige points. Ding. It has been detected that the host has joined the official Chinese institution, the Strategic Intimidation Bureau, initiating national destiny binding. Congratulations. You have successfully bound yourself to China's national destiny. Daily settlement. Your strategic intimidation has successfully inspired the vast populace of China, increasing the nation's destiny. You have gained 485 prestige points. Current prestige points 2685. Era of hegemony initiation stage." Lin Mo fell into deep thought. It seemed that Li Jingwu's strategy had already succeeded. But what did this binding of national destiny mean? Pondering over the system's function introduction from before, Lin Mo suddenly understood, and a wave of immense joy washed over him. Choosing to join the Strategic Intimidation Bureau was truly a wise decision. The Bureau was indeed an official institution with the same name as the system. After joining, Lin Mo directly unlocked a new system function, national destiny binding. According to Lin Mo's understanding, the stronger the nation's confidence, the more robust its destiny and the greater its potential. By executing strategic intimidation against hostile countries or forces, the vast populace of China would be invigorated with confidence, enabling them to better dedicate themselves to labor creation and national construction, thereby elevating the nation's destiny. The logic was thus: under Li Jingwu's command, a series of propaganda operations by the China Strategic Intimidation Bureau had directly and immensely boosted the confidence of the Chinese people, and naturally the nation's destiny rose accordingly. At midnight every day, the system would settle prestige points for Lin Mo based on the increase in national destiny. This might become his primary means of continuously accumulating prestige points. If this pace could be maintained, it would only take about half a month to receive the first system upgrade mission. Currently, his exoskeleton armor was essentially developed. Lin Mo grew increasingly anticipative of the futuristic technology on the system's second tier. The next morning, under Li Jingwu's personal escort, Lin Mo arrived at the Supreme Military Region's General Armament Department, 30 kilometers outside the capital, which also served as China's military industrial equipment testing base. It was a hub gathering all of China's current pinnacle military technologies. Various military equipment involving state secrets were visible everywhere: heavy tanks, missile-armored vehicles, armed helicopters, and various fighter jets. Taking a single photograph would constitute a top-secret leak. In his past life as a senior researcher at the Chinese Academy of Sciences specializing in military technology, he had visited the General Armament Department many times. In this parallel world, the specific location and building layout of the military equipment testing base had changed entirely. Yet this familiar feeling truly gave him the illusion of coming home. This kid. Seeing Lin Mo's calm and composed demeanor throughout the journey, Li Jingwu couldn't help but marvel. Seeing so much cutting-edge military equipment, few could maintain their composure, yet this kid managed to keep his face utterly serene. Either he possessed profound cunning and deep scheming masking his emotions completely, or he simply didn't find these military technologies advanced at all. Entering the office building, Li Jingwu led Lin Mo to the top-floor meeting room. As soon as he stepped inside, Lin Mo was startled to find a group of high-ranking generals, their shoulders adorned with stars, standing within. "Greetings, Chief." This kind of reception, unprecedented even in his past life, left Lin Mo frozen in place. Seeing Lin Mo's dazed expression, Li Jingwu chuckled inwardly. So there were times when even you could be shocked. Li Jingwu guided Lin Mo to the seat on the left of the head seat, while he himself stood before the main seat. "Comrades, let's officially begin the meeting. Please be seated." Everyone moved in unison, sitting down neatly. "First, allow me to introduce a new member of our Supreme Military Region's General Armament Department, Lin Mo." Lin Mo stood up and saluted. The entire room erupted in thunderous applause. Li Jingwu smiled and said, "I'm sure you've all been curious all night about what this super genius looks like. Well, now you've all seen him. Come on, speak your minds freely. What are your first impressions upon seeing Comrade Lin Mo?" The atmosphere began to liven up. One general smiled and said, "So young. Truly, heroes are forged in youth. Not just young, but tall and handsome. He perfectly embodies the image of our Chinese soldiers. He must be at least 185 centimeters tall. He doesn't look like a researcher at all, more like how I looked in my youth. I like him, haha. Like you. Bullshit. If he resembles anyone, it's me." After a round of jesting and banter, Li Jingwu gestured for everyone to quiet down. Yes, Lin Mo's greatest strength is his youth. This year he is only 21, making him the youngest comrade in our General Armament Department. Saying this, Li Jingwu's smile faded. But youth can also be a pejorative carrying some negative connotations. You old veterans, deep down, are you thinking he's young with shallow experience and little exposure? His character isn't mature yet, and his overall abilities need further development. Perhaps he needs to be tempered a bit. The attendees exchanged glances. These words had indeed voiced the thoughts of some. No matter how great the genius, being only 21 meant there were bound to be many areas of immaturity. It wasn't about suppression, but rather that a skyscraper rises from the ground. Young people always need a process to grow. Chief, you exaggerate. Comrade Lin Mo is no ordinary youth. He's a super genius. We will certainly understand, Comrade Lin Mo. Rest assured, Chief, I will treat Comrade Lin Mo as my closest comrade in arms. Li Jingwu sneered inwardly but continued, "That's good. Now I announce the second matter. Last night, the Supreme Military Region's High Command held an emergency meeting specifically to discuss all matters concerning Comrade Lin Mo. We have formally determined Comrade Lin Mo's military rank, position, and rewards. Effective immediately, Comrade Lin Mo is officially enlisted. He will hold the rank of Lieutenant Colonel with political and economic treatment equivalent to a one-star general." These words shocked the generals present. A lieutenant colonel upon entering service. Treatment matching a one-star general in all aspects. And he was still a fresh university graduate with a bachelor's degree. It was common knowledge that China's military ranks consisted of 3 tiers and 10 grades. They were company grades: second lieutenant, first lieutenant, captain, field grade, major, lieutenant colonel, colonel, senior colonel, and the highest general grade: 1-star, general, 2-star, general, 3-star general. There were strict regulations for military academy and national defense students upon graduation and enlistment. Bachelor's degree, second lieutenant. Master's degree, first lieutenant. Doctoral degree, captain. No matter how exceptional the genius, this was a hard and fast rule. Exceptions were not unheard of, but even during wartime, they were exceedingly rare. In the current era of peace, years could pass without a single exception. Not only had Lin Mo broken this historical precedent, but he had also directly attained the rank of lieutenant colonel. One had to consider how many merits a technical officer had to accumulate and how many technologies they had to innovate just to be promoted to lieutenant colonel. And most importantly, he was only 21. Ignoring everyone's astonishment, Li Jingwu continued, "By the decision of the Supreme Military Region's High Command meeting from today onward, Lin Mo will serve as the Deputy Chief Engineer of the Supreme Military Region's General Armament Department and the first technical advisor to the Strategic Intimidation Bureau." Effective immediately, the national-level project for the individual exoskeleton armor is to be restarted. I will serve as the overall project leader and Lin Mo will be the chief engineer of this project. The generals doubted their own ears. Deputy Chief Engineer. A 21-year-old Deputy Chief Engineer. The crowd could not help but begin whispering among themselves. It was reasonable for Lin Mo to serve as the chief engineer of the national-level exoskeleton armor project after all the project's revival was due to him and belonged to no one else. But the position of Deputy Chief Engineer was a genuine position of real power and authority. In the Supreme Military Region, any position bearing the title chief was at least that of a general officer. Yet not all general officers held positions with the chief title. Among the many generals present, fewer than a third had such a designation. This meant that upon his enlistment, the young Lin Mo's appointed position had already surpassed 2/3 of everyone present. Moreover, with Lin Mo occupying this position, the opportunities for others diminished by one. Chiefly, I firmly obey the general staff's arrangements, but wouldn't such a position be too conspicuous? A general voiced an opinion. We all know Comrade Lin Mo is exceptional, but he is still young and lacks management experience. If he is suddenly elevated to such a high post, will it not? Will it not what? Li Jingwu asked calmly. The general hesitated for a moment, then gritted his teeth and said, will his seniority be insufficient to command respect? This is also for the sake of his future development. Slap. Does Lin Mo's development require your concern? Li Jingwu slammed the table abruptly. The general's face turned pale. Li Jingwu glared and said, most of the generals in our general armament department come from technical backgrounds, and many of you are even Lin Mo's seniors in the same field. Ask yourselves honestly, what technical achievements or results do you have that can compare to the individual soldier exoskeleton armor technology and over 30 supporting sub-technologies independently developed by Lin Mo? What face or qualification do you have to consider his future development? The general's face grew even more ashen, and in his heart, he felt even more ashamed. Cast aside that old habit of judging by seniority. Li Jingwu swept his gaze across the crowd. Everyone has already witnessed the performance of the Kunlun individual soldier exoskeleton armor developed by Comrade Lin Mo. It can be said that this epoch-making military equipment has fundamentally changed the mode of modern warfare. Special operations based on achieving victory through surprise will become the optimal solution for winning modern conflicts. Decapitation strikes carried out by Kunlun armor combat squads will become the nightmare of all of Waxia's enemies. Fully equipping all configurations of the exoskeleton armor, mass-producing it, and deploying it is the primary task concerning Waxia's national destiny, and it is the key move to break the Eagle country's technological blockade. When that time comes, offensively, we can engage in differentiated arms races with the Eagle country. Defensively, we can also engage in technological exchanges with them. Comrade Lin Mo's extreme importance is self-evident. He is fully worthy of being treated as a national treasure. Li Jingwu's tone was resolute. Everyone present must henceforth absolutely implement the directives of our great leader. From the deepest depths of your souls, discard the dregs of thought, like Comrade Lin Mo is too young and lacks seniority. Fully cooperate with Comrade Lin Mo's work and no longer harbor any decaying ideas of judging by seniority. Anyone who hinders Comrade Lin Mo's research plans will face the most severe punishment from the Supreme Military Region. Is that clear? Everyone stood up. They shouted loudly, understood. Lin Mo, sitting nearby, watched the scene unfold. He could not help but feel a surge of emotion. Coming to the General Armament Department of the Supreme Military Region this time was truly the right choice. Judging by seniority is a traditional convention passed down through millennia of Waxia's history, not easily broken. If he had gone to Xiang Guangming and Lan Mingcheng's research institute, no matter how astonishing he was, it would have been difficult to gain everyone's recognition in a short time. At that time, he might have had to fight alone for a long while, again encountering numerous hindrances. But the soldiers of the Supreme Military Region were different. Their bounden duty was to obey orders. They could coalesce their strength most quickly and become Lin Mo's best assistants. This was also a potential advantage that no other research institution could possess. Li Jingwu reigned in his anger and began to assign tasks. In the coming period, the most crucial task for our General Armament Department to tackle. The top priority is to fully install all the supporting systems that have not yet been equipped, creating the complete version of the Kunlun armor. Secondly, it is mass production and deployment. The initial target is to build at least 100 sets of Kunlun armor in the remaining 6 months of this year. The task is extremely arduous. Everyone must collaborate with all their might and offer full cooperation. Shui Yunqi Yuanxi and Qi Zhonglong, as the former sub-project leaders of the Exoskeleton Armor Project, starting today, you will serve as Deputy Project Chief Engineers under the full direction of Chief Engineer Lin. I entrust this to all of you. Li Jingwu stood up and gave a solemn salute. The generals present also rose and returned the salute. The meeting concluded. The crowd dispersed. Li Jingwu and Lin Mo remained in the meeting room. Well, how was it? Impressive, wasn't it? Li Jingwu said with a smile. Lin Mo gave an awkward smile. Could he really boast about himself like that? But towards his superior, he still had to offer some flattery. Chief, with your heart devoted to Huaxia and your lofty vision, every word you spoke carried profound meaning, naturally commanding the entire room. You are a role model for us young people. Ha ha ha, you little rascal. Who taught you this skill of flattery? Li Jingwu laughed heartily. No wonder you're a genius. Even your flattery smells sweeter than others. Lin Mo was speechless. Li Jingwu continued with a smile. Last night I reported your merits. The General Staff meeting has preliminarily decided on a first-class merit. But it is contingent on you fully perfecting the exoskeleton armor's functions and passing the test of actual combat exercises. In this era of peace, a living recipient of a first-class merit is no easy feat. The previous few who earned one either made the ultimate sacrifice or suffered severe disabilities. Since it hasn't been finalized yet, I didn't announce it at the meeting just now. You must work hard. A first-class merit is an honor that glorifies your ancestors, and even I am extremely envious. Lin Mo nodded and said, thank you, chiefly. In his previous world, it was only about 10 years later that the criteria for a first-class merit were slightly relaxed. Given the current strictness, even martyrs who sacrificed their lives for the nation sometimes did not receive a first-class merit. Do you have any other opinions to raise regarding the project? Li Jingwu asked. Lin Mo thought for a moment and said, if we are to equip all configurations, the project funding might exceed 500 million. Isn't that too high? Perhaps we could equip only about 60 of the configurations, which could save several hundred million. Some configurations are indeed unnecessary. No way. Li Jingwu waved his hand grandly. Go all out. Problems that money can solve are not problems at all. Such a paltry sum. Equip me with everything. Go all out, spare no expense. Watching Li Jingwu's ostentatious display of wealth, Lin Mo realized that he would likely never have to worry about insufficient project funds again. After a moment of contemplation, Lin Mo said, then there should be no more issues. Li Jingwu nodded. Comrade Lin Mo, from now on you report directly to me. No one can command you. If anyone gives you trouble or makes things difficult, come to me with your complaints, and I'll make them pay. Work with confidence and boldness. In this General Armament Department, I have the final say. Li Jingwu declared with soaring spirits. The last time a national project was terminated, it became a laughingstock in the supreme military region. He was subjected to days of veiled sarcasm from the commanders of the 4 major military regions. This time, Li Jingwu returned like a dragon. Want exoskeleton armor? Damn it, call me daddy, and you'll get it. Whoever shouts the loudest gets it first. By the way, there are a few small matters. Li Jingwu said with a smile. You voluntarily enlisted, dedicating yourself to the nation. It's a personal choice, but the nation must not shortchange a genius like you. First, the General Armament Department has transferred 20 million Chinese yuan to your personal Huaxia bank account under the name of a military equipment innovation personal bonus. It's not much, but it should be enough to settle your family's personal affairs. You must understand you are now enjoying treatment equivalent to a general. This is a privilege that money alone cannot buy. Lin Mo was astounded. 20 million in this parallel world was roughly equivalent to 70 or 80 million in 2023 in his past life. Just to give a few examples. Pork ribs 5 yuan per gene. Beef 12 yuan per gene. Housing prices in a Quasa first-tier city 4,000. Chief, this bonus is truly too generous. I am deeply moved. Lin Mo expressed his sincere gratitude. His family was not accustomed to extravagance. With this money, he would lack for nothing in this lifetime. Given your cutting-edge technology, 20 million is hardly too much. The nation is getting the better deal. Spend it with peace of mind. Li Jingwu patted Lin Mo on the shoulder and said with a smile, second, I've arranged for your little girlfriend to join our national project. Huh. Lin Mo was initially stunned. What girlfriend did he have? Had Li Jingwu assigned him one? Then he quickly understood. He must be referring to Ren Xue. Senior isn't my girlfriend, Chief. Don't misunderstand. Ha ha ha. Li Jingwu laughed heartily. Well, it's probably only a matter of time. I'm just creating opportunities for you. Since you've dedicated your life to the country, your personal matters become the nation's concern. Isn't it good to have a girlfriend assigned to you? Lin Mo wanted to say more, but Li Jingwu cut him off. Enough, stop your blathering here. I'm finding you a familiar face to work with, and you're unhappy with that. Lin Mo had no choice but to concede. All right. In truth, he did have some feelings for Ren Xue. He had long wanted to bring her to work by his side. After all, in this world, there were few women whose intellect could match his own. Ren Xue, a prodigy, was undoubtedly one of them. Li Jingwu smiled and continued. Little Xue grew up under my watch. Since childhood, she has had excellent character. She is beautiful and most importantly, she has a brilliant mind. She's been in gifted classes since she was young. She was admitted to Houyi University at 15. Even though she's a graduate student now, she's probably a few months younger than you. And aside from being a bit short, just about 160 centimeters, everything else about her is a plus. What? Younger than me? Lin Mo was astonished. It was only now that he realized his senior was so young. No wonder she looked like a minor with a lowly appearance. Hey kid, you studied under Professor AI for 4 years. Don't tell me you still don't know your senior's family background. Li Jingwu asked suspiciously. I'm seriously starting to wonder if you have issues with your sexual orientation. If so, the nation can't arrange a partner for you. Lin Mo's mouth twitched. What nonsense. Chief, I am male and attracted to females. Such a fundamental issue could not be misunderstood. However, Li Jingwu's words piqued his curiosity. This lowly-like senior of his was usually a bit scatterbrained and kept a low profile. Yet she could casually spend millions as pocket money. Chief, is my senior's family background very prominent? Lin Mo asked curiously. Of course. Ren Zuyi's father is our General Armament Department's most intimate partner. Li Jingwu started, but suddenly stopped. Kid, why do you need to ask so many questions? Ask her yourself if you want to know. Damn, who starts a story and doesn't finish it? Don't they know that a tale half-told is like arsenic with rice? Lin Mo pestered him for a long time, but Li Jingwu refused to say another word, so he had to give up. In the days that followed, Lin Mo immersed himself in the military equipment research base located over a dozen kilometers from the General Armament Department. The exoskeleton armor he had built before was merely a budget version. To upgrade it to a full version, equipping it with all system configurations would require considerable effort. Especially the crucial weapons system. Relying on himself alone was indeed insufficient. Moreover, Li Jingwu had stipulated that the previous armor was a milestone achievement and must be preserved. It could not be modified or optimized based on the original design. They had to start from scratch, forging a high-spec exoskeleton armor according to the blueprints. This was also to explore and prepare for subsequent mass production. This posed no problem, as Lin Mo had indeed intended to build a new exoskeleton armor. Previously, with no funds and no resources, even the alloy materials were sourced at the lowest standard, making it impossible to unleash the full performance of the Kunlun armor. But the key issue wasn't that. Li Jingwu had specifically instructed that the design blueprints were ready. The armor must be completed within 20 days in time for the Dragon Army Festival. Even Lin Mo found this deadline quite challenging. Fortunately, we have ample funding and capable hands now. Truly, soldiers are reliable when it comes to getting things done. Watching the 40-plus researchers diligently fulfilling their duties in the testing grounds, Lin Mo felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Shui Yunqi, Yuan Shi, and Shi Zhonglong, 3 deputy chief engineers of general rank, were the original project leaders and were themselves exceptionally talented researchers. Under Li Jingwu's specific orders, they indeed upheld the military spirit. They meticulously followed every instruction Lin Mo gave, never slacking off. With the full support of these 3 eminent figures, at least 80% of the burden on Lin Mo's shoulders was lifted. Ren Shui, serving as Lin Mo's secretary, busied herself all day long, trailing behind him and working tirelessly until she was drenched in sweat. Yet no one in the research base felt any fatigue. On the contrary, they considered it an honor. To be part of this epic-making military technology project, one destined for success, was nothing short of bliss. As the project advanced, every researcher and engineer involved found their worldview reshaped daily. Could exoskeleton armor truly be designed this way? Could a fully equipped armored battalion withstand such terrifyingly formidable firepower? And what of the life support systems, auxiliary flight systems, and intelligent adaptive behavior systems? Was this truly an attempt to create a real-life Iron Man suit? The Chinese, did they always play for keeps? The 3 deputy chief engineers leading the project recalled years of fruitless research that had squandered tens of billions in funding. Now, merely following the blueprints, they felt like weeping. Thus, the 3 deputy chiefs threw themselves into their work with renewed vigor, always at the forefront, driving the entire project team to exert every ounce of effort. The project advanced at an astonishing pace. Half a month later, at midnight, the research base remained ablaze with lights, all researchers and engineers working with fiery dedication. The entire base buzzed with activity, as if the late hour meant nothing. In the chief engineer's office, Lin Mo, who was adjusting the armor's performance parameters, suddenly froze. A familiar system notification chimed in his mind. Ding. Daily settlement successfully invigorated the Chinese people, increased national fortune, gained 463 prestige points. Current prestige 10023, hegemony initiation stage. Congratulations, host. You may now claim the first system upgrade mission. Claim. Lin Mo murmured yes. The system voice rang out again. Mission claimed successfully. First system upgrade mission, hegemony initiation objective using the Kunlun exoskeleton armor. A single soldier combat system. greatly boost the confidence of the Chinese people, and deliver a massive strategic intimidation to the Western alliance nations led by the Eagle. Mission Rewards 1. Gain 2,000 prestige points. 2. Upgrade system to 2.0, unlocking the second tier of technology. 3. Prestige system enters sky dominance phase, unlocking new feature, prestige exchange. After hearing the mission requirements, Lin Mo set down his documents and rubbed his temples, lost in thought. This upgrade mission wasn't the requirement a bit too vague? What exactly constituted greatly boost confidence? And what defined massive strategic intimidation? The quantifier greatly lacked precision. Couldn't they use Arabic numerals? Thinking this, Lin Mo slapped his forehead. He had been staying up too late. The system had indeed provided a hint. Mission reward 2,000 prestige points. Previously, through Li Jingwu's cunning maneuvers, a successful but convoluted strategic intimidation had been executed using Lin Mo's exoskeleton armor. The Eagle Nation had even eased its blockades against China as a result, but the reward then had been merely 2,000 prestige points. Now the mission reward was 2,000 prestige points, 10 times greater. What did this imply? Lin Mo had a clear idea. First, it had to be the full version of the Kunlun single-soldier exoskeleton armor. Second, this epic-making combat gear had to be unveiled in a major public national military event showcasing all its terrifying capabilities hidden. Only then could the mission's demands of great confidence boost and massive intimidation be achieved. Thinking this, Lin Mo smiled wryly. Wasn't strategic intimidation supposed to be covert? Given the system's nature, was he meant to confront the Eagle hidden indefinitely? Moreover, gaining approval to publicly reveal the Kunlun armor, currently classified as a top national secret, required overcoming enormous resistance. Yet completing the system upgrade mission quickly to unlock the second-tier technology was crucial. How should he proceed? Lin Mo fell into a long, deep contemplation. Time passed swiftly. 2 days remained until the Dragon Army Festival. At 9 in the morning, a military armored vehicle slowly entered the Supreme Military Region's General Armament Department. It stopped before the office building. The door opened, and a figure stepped out. A naval officer in sea blue uniform adorned with 3 stars on his shoulders. Those who followed the Chinese military would instantly recognize this senior commander, Houyi Yanwen, the head of the entire southern military region. Who would have thought just days ago you were inspecting the southern seas, and now you've made it here, old Hu? Several people had already gathered at the office buildings in trance. What, you can come, but I can't. Southern Military Region Commander Houyi Yanwen said calmly. Didn't you old dang rush over from the great northwest? Among the Dragon Army's high ranks, only one person bore the surname Deng Gaoxiang, commander of the Western Military Region, guarding the western frontier. You can come, Deng Gaoxiang declared firmly, but this time the single-soldier exoskeleton armor is going to the Western Military Region. Houyi Yanwen chuckled. You claim it. Who was it that mocked old Li the most last time? At this, Deng Gaoxiang's face flushed with embarrassment. Earlier this year, Li Jingwu's exoskeleton armor project had failed, earning him harsh criticism from superiors at the commander's meeting. Afterward, Deng Gaoxiang had treated it as a joke, calling Li Jingwu daily to mock him. Eventually, Li Jingwu had blocked his number. No one had rubbed salt in the wound more viciously. Nonsense. Old Li is my dear friend, my brother. Before Deng Gaoxiang could finish, someone interrupted. Who the hell is your brother? A figure strode out of the building, followed by over a dozen general officers. It was Li Jingwu, chief of the General Armament Department. Li Jingwu glanced sideways at Deng Gaoxiang and said flatly, I only have an enemy named Deng Gaoxiang. Deng Gaoxiang could only force a laugh. Old Li, I came to apologize. See. Cut the crap, get lost, I don't know you. Li Jingwu walked straight ahead, inwardly elated. This time you'll learn what it means when fortunes reverse. Come on, old Hu, let's go to the gate to welcome the leaders. Hey, wait. Old Li, come on, listen to me. Last time was all a misunderstanding. Deng Gaoxiang, chasing after Li Jingwu, cursed his own rotten luck. His chief of staff had claimed that given China's research-level single-soldier exoskeleton armor would take at least 20 more years to produce. Who would have thought that a project declared failed just months ago would now be realized by Li Jingwu? With performance so monstrous, it could change the very nature of warfare. Damn it, when I get back, it'll make that idiot chief of staff run 30 laps. Old Qin and Old Ding couldn't make it for this inspection, but they each sent their chiefs of staff, Houyi Yanwen said with a smile as he walked alongside Li Jingwu. Qin Guofeng was the commander of the Eastern Military Region. Lately, the land of the rising sun and the Eagle Nation had been stirring up trouble, making the situation in China's Eastern Sea unstable. He had to remain on the front lines. Even Commander Qin couldn't attend the Dragon Army Festival 2 days later. Ding Xinglong was the commander of the Northern Military Region. The reason he couldn't come was simple. This year's full-scale military exercise of the entire Chinese armed forces would be held at the Sunrise Base on the grasslands of the Northern Military Region. It's fine if they can't come. After the exercise, they'll all have to come begging me. Who wouldn't want cutting-edge combat equipment that can directly decide the outcome of a battle? Li Jingwu said calmly. Seeing his confident demeanor, Houyi Yanwen shook his head with a smile. You always brag too early, and in the end you're the one who gets slapped in the face. Let's wait until today's inspection is over. The Exoskeleton Armor Project was a top-level national secret. Apart from senior officers in the General Armament Department who needed to know for work, even the commanders of major military regions knew little about it. Although the armor parameters released so far were indeed terrifying, directly deciding the outcome of a battle, that was definitely Li Jingwu exaggerating. Even if it made you faster and stronger, it was still just individual soldier equipment. One shot from a howitzer, and it was game over. How could it decide a battle? Li Jingwu laughed heartily in reply. Don't believe me. Just wait and see. Just then Deng Gaoxiang caught up from behind. Oldly, I believe you, I really do. I trust you the most. He said with a fawning smile. I truly know how formidable your exoskeleton armor is. Look, most of my Western military region is army. We have the most special operations units in the entire military, and we have to guard the Western border and the Yunnan border. Isn't this the perfect place for your exoskeleton armor? Before he could finish, Li Jingwu's next words nearly made Deng Gaoxiang vomit blood. Not listening, you're just a turtle chanting sutras. Seeing Li Jingwu in such a state, Deng Gaoxiang knew he'd probably have to pay a heavy price this time. Damn, add 20 more laps. When he got back, he'd make that idiot chief of staff run 50 laps. The group arrived at the solemn gates of the Supreme Military Region's General Armament Department. I never thought even Commander Long would come to inspect your project today, Houyi Yanwen said with a smile. The day after tomorrow is the full military exercise. How could Commander Long feel reassured without seeing this exoskeleton armor for himself? Li Jingwu replied. In China's Supreme Military Region, there were 5 top-level generals wielding the power of the Dragon Army. The first needed no introduction. The second was the Chief of General Staff of the Dragon Army. The third, fourth, and fifth in no particular order were the Army Commander, the Navy Commander, and the Air Force Commander. If one had to rank by seniority, the current Army Commander was the most senior, followed by the Navy Commander, and the Air Force Commander was the youngest. It was these 5 who jointly participated in the Supreme Military Region Commanders meeting. They had the full authority to decide all major military matters, all important personnel appointments, and all major financial expenditures of the Dragon Army. Only these 5 truly held the pinnacle of power over the Dragon Army. After them came the various department chiefs and military region commanders who implemented the decisions. This time the leader coming to the General Armament Department for a national-level project inspection was none other than the commander of the Chinese Army, the third most powerful figure in the Dragon Army, Long Jianjun. The individual exoskeleton armor was the most advanced individual combat equipment, drawing the most attention from the army. As the army commander of the Dragon Army, it was only fitting for Long Jianjun to inspect it before the grand exercise. In less than 10 minutes, they're here. The crowd looked into the distance and saw a faint line of armored vehicles. Everyone immediately stood at attention. Before long, escorted by over 20 ZSLA one-wheeled armored vehicles, a domestically produced Hongqi armored sedan slowly stopped at the main gate. A burly general with graying hair stepped out from the right rear door. It was Army Commander Long Jianjun. The crowd quickly moved forward to greet him. Unexpectedly, Long Jianjun paid no attention to Li Jingwu and his group. He went directly to the left rear of the car and respectfully opened the back door. As another elderly man slowly descended from the car, the waiting crowd's pupils constricted sharply. Everyone immediately stood at attention and saluted. Li Jingwu, Houyi Yanwen, Deng Gaoxiang. Sending our respects to the leader. Looking at the elderly man who had just gotten out of the car, not only were Houyi Yanwen and Deng Gaoxiang shocked, but Li Jingwu was also filled with trepidation. This leader had personally come to the General Armament Department to inspect a national-level military technology project. Li Jingwu silently prayed that Lin Mo and the others wouldn't mess up during the inspection. The previous project had been forcibly terminated by this very leader's decision. After getting out of the car, the leader adjusted his collar slightly and said with a faint smile, "Greetings, comrades." Li Jingwu quickly stepped forward. "Leader, you are busy with state affairs. Why have you suddenly come to this remote place of mine? Are you planning to inspect the individual exoskeleton armor project?" The leader smiled, but said nothing. Commander Long replied coolly, "What is the leader not allowed to make a surprise inspection?" "You misunderstand." Li Jingwu quickly waved his hand. Commander Long continued, "Glad you understand." Then he pointed to a man walking over from the car behind. "I've brought your old partner. Now give us a good demonstration of your individual exoskeleton armor." Li Jingwu looked closely. His expression changed slightly. The man approaching was his former collaborator, the former chief engineer of the Exoskeleton Armor Project academician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences and dean of the School of Mechanical Engineering at Tsinghua University, academician Peng Hao. Peng Hao's face was gloomy, as if he was holding back anger. he said with a forced smile. Chief Li, long time no see. Haven't seen you for a while, academician Peng. You look as energetic as ever, Li Jingwu replied with a perfunctory smile. But his heart sank. Peng Hao had come looking for him so quickly it was clearly to call him to account. Perhaps he had even brought this high-ranking leader along. Before the old project was terminated, Li Jingwu and Peng Hao had already had some irreconcilable conflicts. With the project's restart, Peng Hao was not invited to participate at all, completely exacerbating the conflict. But time was tight, and Li Jingwu couldn't afford to worry about that. As long as they worked quickly to develop the complete armor, put it into mass production, and equip the troops, the opinions of others would be nothing but fleeting clouds. Who would have thought that Peng Hao would drag the leader here so quickly, clearly intending to cause trouble? As expected, Director Li, I have come this time to see for myself how such a massive national project with dozens of people spending years to reach a conclusion could be overturned by a mere university graduate. Peng Hao sneered coldly. Logically speaking, the reactivation of the Exoskeleton armor project should have required him to return as the chief designer. Yet they allowed a fresh university graduate to become the new chief designer. And they did not even inform him. In Peng Hao's view, this was not only a direct slap to his face, but also a shameless act of stealing the fruits of his labor. Before coming, Peng Hao had thoroughly investigated Lin Mo's family background. It was utterly unremarkable. The only thorn in his side was that this graduate Lin Mo had Ai Chongfeng as his mentor. He and Ai Chongfeng were the greatest political adversaries. Over the years, their verbal battles and struggles had never ceased. As the dean of the School of Mechanical Engineering at Xuan Nu University, Peng Hao's core philosophy was to send students to the Eagle Kingdom for advanced study, thereby building a bridge of friendship between the two nations. Even in the current era when the Eagle Kingdom had shamelessly suppressed them, his philosophy remained that academia knows no borders, that bilateral conflicts should not affect academic cooperation, and that nothing should hinder academic exchanges between universities of the two countries. He was the ultimate dove among doves. Unfortunately, under the years of maneuvering by Peng Hao and a group of like-minded doves, over 80 of the hundreds of top students Xuan Nu University sent to the Eagle Kingdom had not returned to Huaxia, and the so-called Eagle Kingdom exchange students all returned to the Eagle Kingdom after graduation. In response, the conservative doves led by Peng Hao firmly believed that Huaxia's technology lagged behind the Eagle Kingdom by at least 50 years, and that enduring humiliation was a necessary path for Huaxia. If even one could return with knowledge, it would be a gain for Huaxia. Clearly, his conservative dove faction and Ai Chongfeng's radical hawk faction had completely irreconcilable political differences. Upon learning that Lin Mo was Ai Chongfeng's student, Peng Hao grew even more furious. He was convinced that this was a political struggle specifically designed to target him. The so-called Exoskeleton armor project was doomed to fail. The results of the project he had led were conclusive and unchangeable. Hearing Peng Hao's sarcastic remarks, Li Jingwu smiled calmly and said, "We shall wait and see, academician Peng." As a high-ranking official of the Supreme Military Region, Li Jingwu possessed keen insight and quickly grasped the crux of the matter. He knew that Peng Hao's visit was not only to demand an explanation, but also to suppress Lin Mo. Unfortunately, in the face of absolute intellectual dominance and technological superiority, all suppression was futile. In recent days, despite being busy with the Dragon Army Festival, Li Jingwu had found time to visit the research base. Progress was astounding. He had absolute confidence in Lin Mo. At that moment, Long Jianjun's deep voice rang out. "Comrade Jingwu, lead the way." Li Jingwu stood at attention and replied, "Yes, Commander Long." Under Li Jingwu's arrangements, 10 additional wheeled armored vehicles were mobilized from the General Armament Department, totaling 35. Fully armed, they escorted 3 domestic Hongqi armored cars toward the General Armament Department's military equipment research base over 10 kilometers away. Southwest of the research base, the rocket projectile target range covering thousands of acres. A dark matte-armored figure darted swiftly. As it neared the target, it suddenly leaped, and pale blue flames erupted from the joints of its body. The figure soared into the air, hovering directly at a height of over 50 meters. The armored warrior extended its right arm, and a missile ejected from its forearm, launching forth. Boom! A thunderous roar echoed. At the rocket projectile target 10 meters in diameter, only a massive gaping hole remained. The armored warrior flew back, landing steadily. Removing its helmet, it revealed Captain Lu Zhihui of the Special Operations Force. He exclaimed excitedly, reporting to Chief Designer Lin. "The test mission is complete." Deputy Chief Designer Shui Yunqi was equally thrilled. "You truly get what you pay for." "Chief Designer Lin, I told you this money was well spent." Deputy Chief Designers Yuan Shi and Qi Zhonglong embraced each other, weeping with joy. All successes. Is this really not a dream? All tests successful. Lin Mo was slightly speechless. He had originally thought 5 billion was already too high. Yet these three deputy chief designers were even more willing to spend demanding the best for every configuration. Even if spending tens of millions more only improved performance by 0.1, they considered it worthwhile. Moreover, seeing that every technology was highly mature, these three deputy chief designers directly considered mass production. For every armor component and system configuration, they had 10 sets fabricated. In just over half a month, the project funds had already approached 10 billion. Money truly flowed like water. Fortunately, the project was now well-funded and could withstand such expenditure. Lin Mo stood up from his chair. Looking at the expectant eyes of the crowd, he smiled lightly and declared, "After these days of testing every armor configuration one by one, I can now announce that this project has achieved initial success. Thank you all for your hard work these past days." Clap, clap, clap. The dozens of researchers present applauded excitedly. The fulfilling and smooth half-month filled every researcher with gratitude. This would be the most valuable experience of their scientific careers. After a brief discussion with the three deputy chief designers, Lin Mo continued, "Next, as planned, Captain Lu Zhihui will conduct the final comprehensive full-process test of the Kunlun exoskeleton armor. All parameter inspectors, please take your positions. We will begin in 10 minutes. At the same time, at the center of the research base, led by Li Jingwu, the high-ranking officials had entered the main hall. "Where is everyone? Why is it empty?" Seeing the deserted base, Deng Gaoxiang asked curiously. "Ridiculous. It's past 9 in the morning, the prime time for research output, yet this vast base has not a single soul. Is this any way to conduct research?" Peng Hao scoffed. "Li Jingwu, you've certainly chosen a fine chief designer. You've truly impressed me." The leader remained calm and silent. Beside him, Li Jingwu's face turned ashen. This Lin Mo, so unreliable. The Dragon Army Grand Exercise was only 2 days away, and after all his urgent reminders, he dropped the ball at such a critical moment. He was about to pick up the phone to ask Lin Mo what was happening. Boom! A sudden explosion startled everyone present. All eyes turned to the southwest. Li Jingwu's heart steadied. They must be at the test range conducting parameter checks on the armor. Come, let's head over now. The group walked toward the southwest. As the former chief director, Peng Hao had worked here for several years and was very familiar with the environment. While walking, he introduced the surroundings to the others. The southwest corner of this research base is the rocket target range. Since the Exoskeleton Armor Project began, it has rarely been used. I wonder what Lin Mo and his team are researching there. Could exoskeleton armor really be tested at a rocket target range? Oh, I remember now. His mentor AI Chongfeng specializes in missiles. Maybe their university's test range isn't good enough, so they came to borrow a national-level research base to hatch their own eggs. Peng Hao deliberately referred to him as a student with malicious intent. This would make everyone perceive Lin Mo as young and unreliable. Li Jingwu frowned. After years of collaboration, he knew Peng Hao's true nature well. Playing such petty tricks, truly as shameless as ever. Peng Hao continued, "Leader Director, long before that, let me first introduce the research results of the previous project. According to scientific research, the current limit for all alloy materials worldwide is only 600 kilograms. To be precise, the limit is 603.26 kilograms. This is the figure our team calculated precisely based on all current materials and technologies. It is also the consensus reached by scientists from Huaxia, the Eagle Kingdom, and experts from other countries around the world. To surpass this limit, major breakthroughs are needed in every fundamental material field." With that, Peng Hao glanced at Li Jingwu. Director Li is the head of the Strategic Deterrence Bureau, announcing that the armor has a load capacity of 3,000 kilograms might involve some strategic considerations for external affairs. Director Li's perspective is higher than ours, and it's all for the sake of Huaxia. But from a scientific standpoint, let alone 3,000 kilograms, even 1,000 kilograms, is impossible. The leader remained expressionless and looked at Long Jianjun. Understanding the Q director, Long asked calmly, "Academician Peng, don't you think there's even a slight possibility that the armor parameters are real?" "Absolutely impossible. If such absurd parameters were true, I would resign as the dean of Xuan Nu University." Peng Hao waved his hand, his tone unwavering. Director Long said, "Then how do you explain the video footage Comrade Jingwu submitted?" Peng Hao pondered for a moment, then shared his genuine thoughts over the past half-month. Perhaps it was a carefully crafted design by Director Li. That truck cab looked just like a prop. Director Li is the head of the Strategic Deterrence Bureau and was previously the project leader. He might still have some of the discarded exoskeleton armor we developed together, which could be used for external strategic deterrence. These days, the Eagle Kingdom has lifted multiple technology blockades against Huaxia just to get a glimpse of our armor technology. Clearly, the strategic deterrence has yielded significant results. That's what I admire most about Director Li. Peng Hao was convinced that the previous exoskeleton armor was a carefully orchestrated show by Li Jingwu primarily aimed at intimidating the Eagle Kingdom to achieve strategic goals. As for the armor itself, how could it possibly carry 3,000 kilograms just because someone said so? If it were that easy, would Li Jingwu still be the head of the Strategic Deterrence Bureau? Hearing Peng Hao's words, Li Jingwu's anger surged. Just as he was about to retort, Long Jianjun spoke coldly from the side. Academician Peng, what makes you think that the Supreme Military Region's General Armament Department would dare to report strategic military technology to the Huaxia Supreme Council as a mere prop? If it were truly a prop, would the Supreme Military Region's General Command meeting have restarted this national-level project? Peng Hao's face turned pale instantly. He fell silent. Put away your arrogance, academician Peng. Director Long's resounding words left Peng Hao utterly humiliated, wishing he could find a hole to crawl into. His hatred for Li Jingwu and that so-called Lin Mo grew even stronger. Hearing Peng Hao being berated, Li Jingwu felt a secret thrill. With your level of scientific research, even this academician title was likely obtained by riding on the coattails of the Eagle Kingdom and padding your papers. And you dare to compare yourself to the super genius I personally recruited. The project inspection team, escorted by dozens of Dragon Army soldiers, quickly made their way toward the rocket target range. Meanwhile, inside the test range, all preliminary preparations for the comprehensive tests were essentially complete. Captain Lu, let's begin. Proceed step by step as planned. Understood, Chief Engineer Lin. Lu Zhihui was filled with excitement. Over the past few days, as the primary test operator for the exoskeleton armor, he had witnessed countless functional configurations that he had never dared to imagine, but which Chief Engineer Lin had already implemented. He felt as if he were still half asleep, wondering if everything was just a dream. If it weren't for returning to the military family quarters every night to see his wife and mischievous son, he would truly feel like he had suddenly traveled to a sci-fi era. Lu Zhihui took a deep breath and clenched his fists. I must conduct the test well and fight this final battle. Upon receiving the signal from the inspector, Lu Zhihui, clad in the armor, slightly bent his knees, gathered momentum, and shot straight into the air, flying rapidly toward a newly set target in the distance. From the same direction, the group quickly arrived at the edge of the test range. I see them over there. As soon as they entered the range, Li Jingwu spotted a large crowd near the test field facility from afar. He breathed a huge sigh of relief. They were there. Thankfully, nothing had gone wrong. Otherwise, he wouldn't know how to explain this to the leader and Director Long. Forgive my ignorance, but I'm truly curious to see what high-end tests a single soldier exoskeleton armor can conduct at a rocket test range. Peng Hao spoke with a sarcastic tone. Let's go, Deng Gaoxiang said with slight excitement. I've been longing to see this exoskeleton armor for a long time. Today I must try it myself. The group was about to head toward the project team when suddenly a dark shadow rapidly approached from the sky. Commanders, be careful. The Dragon Army soldiers guarding them were alarmed and quickly moved in front of the leaders, raising their weapons to aim at the shadow. Even Li Jingwu had forgotten that stray bullets could appear at any moment on a rocket target range. The atmosphere instantly became tense. However, the dark shadow suddenly halted in midair. At that moment, everyone finally saw its true form. It was a soldier clad in matte black lusterless armor. Witnessing this astonishing sight, everyone was utterly shocked, frozen in place. Oldly, isn't an exoskeleton armor supposed to be auxiliary infantry equipment? You've literally made it take off. What kind of exoskeleton is this? Deng Gaoxiang expressed his disbelief. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Peng Hao shook his head frantically, took off his glasses, rubbed them vigorously against his clothes, and repeatedly wiped his eyes. After putting his glasses back on and looking up, why was the armored soldier still in the air? This defied science. Long Jianjun frowned deeply. Staring at the armored soldier in the sky, he asked Li Jingwu, Comrade Jingwu, what is the meaning of this? Li Jingwu stood there utterly dumbfounded. It had only been 5 days since he last visited the site, yet the armor seemed entirely transformed. But he couldn't very well admit he had no idea what was going on. Li Jingwu swallowed hard. Forcing an explanation, he said, This is the latest armored flight system researched by Chief Designer Lin Mo. It was only recently implemented. Pretty impressive, isn't it? Haha. Though the leader's expression remained calm, a flicker of something stirred within his eyes. Before this, he had even participated in nuclear bomb tests, a man of vast experience. Yet today, for the first time, he witnessed a single soldier combat suit capable of flight in reality. This was entirely different from what Li Jingwu had reported to the Supreme Council. At that moment, Lu Zhihui was conducting an armor test, maintaining a stable hover for 1 minute. Suddenly, he noticed a large crowd not far away. Huh, isn't that Chief Li? No. Damn, isn't that Commander Long? And the one in the center? Holy crap, isn't that? How did even such a big boss come here? Lu Zhihui was so startled that his figure wavered, nearly plummeting from the air. It was only thanks to the intelligent adaptive behavior system that he steadied himself. Lu Zhihui breathed a huge sigh of relief. If he had fallen, wouldn't that have been a disgrace right before the leaders? Thinking this, he suddenly realized something. What else could these bigwigs be coming to the research base for? It had to be to see his exoskeleton armor. Damn it. He had to put on a good show. He quickly activated the loudspeaker system and saluted from the air, shouting loudly to the ground below, "Greetings, commanders. Lu Zhihui, captain of the Supreme Military Region's Dragon Claw Special Operations Unit, salutes you. Per Chief Designer Lin Mo's orders, I am conducting a full-process comprehensive test of the individual exoskeleton armor. Shall we proceed with the test?" Awaiting your orders. Everyone looked up, seeing Lu Zhihui standing at attention and saluting over 50 meters in the air. It felt utterly surreal. Having saluted for decades, this was the most novel method they had ever seen. As the head of the research base, Li Jingwu quickly sought the leader's instructions on whether to continue. Receiving a nod of approval from the leader, he announced clearly, "Lu Zhihui, hear my command. Sir, proceed with the armor test as planned." Understood. Lu Zhihui roared in response, his heart surging with exhilaration. Next up was old Liu's exoskeleton armor personal showtime. The next step, live-fire test of micro-guided tactical rockets. Flames shot from the armor's joints. Lu Zhihui swiftly flew to the test area. Ahead of him lay 3 target zones. The first zone, moving targets. Within the area, a humanoid target plate was performing rapid erratic movements. Lu Zhihui was positioned a full 2 kilometers away. He raised his right arm. Fire. With a mechanical clatter, a compartment on the right arm's armor opened and 8 micro-rockets sprang forth. Initially, their speed was slow, but under the lock of the built-in guidance system, they immediately veered and shot towards the target at high velocity. Though the target moved continuously enough to blur the vision of those with poor eyesight, these 8 rockets locked onto it, as if equipped with an auto-aim hack. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. A thunderous roar echoed. The target plate was blasted to pieces, leaving only a large crater in its place. All 8 rockets struck with pinpoint precision without exception. The consecutive impacts occurred within 0.1 seconds. This scene violently shattered the worldview of everyone present. Could it be micro-guidance? Long Jianjun's resonant voice rang out, as if providing commentary for the leader. Micro-guidance is a major challenge in army combat equipment, he said. Currently, the micro-guidance technology researched by the Chinese Academy of Sciences is not mature and will take years to deploy in combat. Yet the micro-guided rockets on this new exoskeleton armor boast fully mature technology in every aspect. Especially this extraordinary hit rate. It's nothing short of a miracle. As the army commander, Long Jianjun had seen every type of ground combat equipment. Micro-guidance had been researched for years, and he had long hoped for its early deployment. After years of anticipation, it remained immature, requiring more waiting. But a technology like this, 8 rockets fired simultaneously from over 2 kilometers away with a 100 hit rate. If he hadn't witnessed it with his own eyes, Long Jianjun would have dismissed it as an outright fantasy. Beside him, Peng Hao couldn't believe what he was seeing. He clutched his hair, shaking his head vigorously. Micro-guidance is one thing, but how can it be embedded into an exoskeleton armor? How is it possible to fit it in? How can all shots hit? How can? In Hu Yanwen's and Deng Gaoxiang's eyes, a fervent gleam ignited simultaneously. This trip to the project inspection was truly worthwhile. Deng Gaoxiang thought to himself, even if he had to kneel and beg or pester relentlessly, he would demand priority supply for the Western Military Region from Li Jingwu. At worst, he could make that damn chief of staff run another 80 laps when they got back. In the air, Lu Zhihui didn't pause. The second target zone featured 8 targets scattered within a 100-meter range. Aiming. Beep, beep, beep. Beep. After less than 2 seconds of scanning, the rockets all locked onto their targets. Fire. 8 rockets ejected from the left arm. They streaked towards their respective designated targets. Boom, 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 boom. 8 non-consecutive explosions rang out. All 8 targets were blown to smithereens. Once again, every shot was a precise hit. A sharp light flashed in the leader's eyes. Long Jianjun muttered involuntarily, multi-target joint guidance. From lock-on to impact under 5 seconds. This is impossible. Long Jianjun was utterly incredulous. If the technical difficulty of the earlier single-target precision guidance was a 10, then the technical difficulty of multi-target joint guidance was at least a 100. That represented at least 7 or 8 generations of technological iteration. Just this one joint guidance technology alone would require a decade of accumulated expertise. Yet here at this research base, it was being demonstrated so unassumingly. And damn it, as just a subtest of one firepower configuration. Everyone held their breath, staring in shock at the scene before them. All present were military experts, so they could instantly recognize just how absurdly advanced this newly demonstrated technology was. It was as if micro-guidance technology had not only fully matured, but had been innovated upon for several more generations. And seriously, were they testing exoskeleton armor technology or micro-guidance technology here? Midair. Lu Zhihui, unaware of the situation below, continued towards the third target zone. This zone was entirely different from the previous ones. Within an area of about 50 meters in radius, hundreds of targets were densely arranged. Lu Zhihui grew even more excited at the sight of these targets. Among the 3 live-fire test zones for rocket launchers, this was his absolute favorite. Full coverage saturation bombardment. Lu Zhihui extended his arms, and several mechanisms on the armor opened, unleashing all the stored micro-guided rockets. More than 60 rockets in total. Following the preset program, all micro-guided rockets completed their scans. There was no targeted aiming, only grid coverage. The rockets divided the area where the targets were located into a grid based on regional distribution. After launching, each one darted towards its designated grid cell. In the end, it was a carpet-style, indiscriminate bombardment. The continuous booming sounds of explosions echoed throughout the entire target testing ground. This terrifying sight made the scalps of all onlookers tingle and goosebumps rose on their arms. Damn, could these still be called micro-guided rockets? Dozens of rockets launched simultaneously, scattering everywhere like flowers strewn by a celestial maiden. How could they still manage to cover every single target? Next, Lu Zhihui then continued to demonstrate other armor firepower systems, which made everyone feel as if they had stepped into a science fiction movie. During the live-fire test of the micro-electromagnetic shock cannon, a micro-cannon barrel extended from Lu Zhihui's right forearm. A dazzling flash of electric light streaked by, and an electromagnetic cannonball shot out like a strike from the thunder god. The targets hidden inside sturdy fortifications, even behind thick steel walls, were instantly turned to ashes. Not only that, but all the thermal weapon shells and bullets within the fortifications were detonated by the powerful electromagnetic impact, leaving no survivors. In the live-fire test of the micro-high-energy laser cannon, the target was on a mountain 5 kilometers away, barely visible. Yet a high-energy laser beam fired from the armor's left forearm hit it with pinpoint accuracy. The entire target was completely obliterated. It was not only long-range, but also accurate and immensely powerful, even surpassing a sniper rifle. The watching crowd thought to themselves, might as well rename it the laser sniper cannon. Long Jianjun took a deep breath. Looking at Li Jingwu, he said coldly, "Comrade Jingwu, was that report you submitted to the High Council written with your feet?" Li Jingwu was just recovering from his state of shock. Hearing his superiors questioning his face was full of embarrassment. That brat Lin Mo, he hadn't even told him in advance, and had actually managed to create so many black technologies. Some of the firepower configurations weren't even recorded in his previous technical documents. This was purely making him look bad. After completing the firepower system tests, Lu Zhihui proceeded with a series of standard tests for the exoskeleton armor, including straight-line sprint speed, multi-terrain obstacle running, and comprehensive strength tests. Everyone went from initial disbelief to shock and excitement, and finally to sensory numbness. They also realized that they were likely witnessing a great revolution in military technology history firsthand. Report to the chief. All tests completed with great success. Awaiting instructions, Lu Zhihui returned to the leaders, removed his helmet, stood at attention, and saluted. After running through so many test items in one go, a suit tester would typically be panting and sweating profusely. Yet Lu Zhihui appeared relaxed and composed, showing no signs of fatigue. It couldn't be helped. The newly crafted complete version of the exoskeleton armor by Lin Mo was equipped with a behavior adaptation system and an air conditioning and constant temperature system. Wearing the armor felt like driving a car. Why would he need to exert any effort himself? Fake, it's all fake. It's props. It must be props. Peng Hao, as if insane, rushed straight to Li Jingwu. Li Jingwu, tell me these are all props, right? Li Jingwu pushed him away, but Peng Hao clung to him like a sticky plaster. Long Jianjun's face was full of disgust. With a glance, 2 Dragon Army soldiers quickly escorted Peng Hao to the back of the formation. Aren't you going to explain? Long Jianjun said angrily to Li Jingwu. Li Jingwu stammered. He had no idea what to say. At this moment, anything he said would be wrong. At that moment, the leader, who had been silent for a long time, finally spoke. Comrade Jingwu, I am very satisfied with this individual exoskeleton armor. Li Jingwu was flattered. His expression instantly turned excited. Thank you for the compliment, Chief. The leader walked forward while smiling. Come. Let's go meet our genius of Huaxia, Comrade Lin Mo. Inside the factory area, Lin Mo was with a group of researchers and engineers. They were conducting secondary verification on the data reported back by various data monitors. Flexibility performance parameters confirmed. Speed performance parameters confirmed. Strength performance parameters confirmed. Micro-guided tactical rocket-related parameters confirmed. The people present grew increasingly excited. As the last person shouted that the parameters were confirmed, thunderous cheers erupted throughout the factory area. We did it. We succeeded. Engineers in safety helmets took off their hats and tossed them into the air. Lin Mo, did you hear that? The test passed. Ren Shui hugged Lin Mo tightly, crying tears of joy. Lin Mo, you're so amazing, I'm so happy, boohoo. Seeing Ren Zui's haggard appearance, Lin Mo said with concern, Senior sister, you've worked hard over the past few days. To meet the tight schedule, Ren Shui, as Lin Mo's secretary, had been working over 18 hours a day. What's so hard about it? It's totally worth it. Ren Shui said with teary eyes, unable to hide her excitement. To participate in such a groundbreaking military equipment project was the greatest dream of every military science researcher. Chief Engineer Lin, a high-ranking leader, is coming. Upon hearing this, everyone stopped celebrating and quickly tidied up the site. Before long, an elderly man walked at the front, followed by several senior generals and escorted by dozens of Dragon Army soldiers. They entered the testing ground factory area. Lin Mo, come meet the leader. Li Jingwu called out ahead of time, afraid that Lin Mo might not know the protocol. Lin Mo was startled. Could it be that particular leader? Everyone was also very shocked. Even the number 3 had come. Lin Mo quickly led 3 deputy chief engineers to the leaders. He stood at attention and saluted. Greetings, Chief, Lin Mo said loudly. But after waiting for a long time, there was no response from the leader. Lin Mo looked at the leader only to find him staring intently at him, making Lin Mo's skin crawl. Li Jingwu behind him changed expression slightly. Had Lin Mo done something wrong? Was the leader dissatisfied? Just then the leader's deep voice came. Comrade Lin Mo, do you know that it was my decision to have Professor Ai Chongfeng teach at Houyi University? Boom. This simple sentence made Lin Mo's hair stand on end and his entire body went numb. Everyone's faces changed color instantly. Peng Hao at the very back of the line nearly burst out laughing. The leader, as expected, was still on my side. Lin Mo's mind was a tangled mess. Hawks, doves, struggles, ostracism. Could it be the leader? Before Lin Mo could dwell on it further, the leader's next words came. Comrade Lin Mo, there is a question I would like to ask you. Lin Mo took a deep breath, calming his inner turmoil. He replied seriously, Leader, please go ahead. The leader gave a faint smile. He took a few steps forward, stopping in front of Lin Mo. Li Jingwu couldn't help but want to speak, but was immediately silenced by a fierce glare from Long Jianjun. Li Jingwu was helpless. Kid, you'll have to rely on your own luck now. The leader stood before Lin Mo, a smile on his face. He gently patted Lin Mo on the shoulder. No need to be nervous. Just answer me with your most honest thoughts. The leader said with a smile. It's strange, you know, here in Wuxia's upper echelons, everyone has their own beliefs and philosophies. Some people's ideas are more radical. Those who gather together are called the hawks by others. Some people's philosophies are more moderate, and they are called the doves. The leader paused and said with a self-deprecating tone, I don't know why, but over the years I suddenly got labeled a dove by others. And I even became the #1 figure of the doves. Comrade Lin Mo, don't you find it strange? The last sentence was like a thunderclap on a clear day. It made everyone's expression change. Lin Mo couldn't fathom the leader's thoughts, so he simply stopped overthinking and waited for his question. Comrade Lin Mo, some of your past remarks, including your declaration and intentions when you joined the Strategic Deterrence Bureau, have all come to our attention. At the same time, many people have already labeled you as a hawk. The leader looked at Lin Mo and asked calmly, So, Comrade Lin Mo, what faction do you consider yourself to be? Are you a hawk or a dove? This was a soul-searing question. The entire hall fell into dead silence. Lin Mo's nerves were stretched taut. Some others, unable to bear the tension, even began to break out in cold sweats. Who would have thought that upon meeting Lin Mo for the first time, the leader would pose such a sharp question? Li Jingwu was frantic with worry. If he chose the doves for Lin Mo, it would be submission. His life's convictions would be dealt a massive blow, possibly even causing him to never recover. If he chose the hawks, Lin Mo would be setting up an utterly insurmountable enemy for himself. How was he supposed to answer? The hall was utterly silent. Lin Mo looked at the leader, pondering how to respond to such a piercing, soul-searching question. He certainly couldn't be a dove. So was he a hawk? Lin Mo thought back on his past, on the ambitions he had set for himself across 2 lifetimes. In an instant, many things became clear. In this life, he had the system by his side. He was destined to be Wuxia's future, Wuxia's hope. What did it matter if he was a dove? What did it matter if he was a hawk? What did it even matter if he was the leader? As long as he could continuously elevate Wuxia's technology and continuously enhance Wuxia's national destiny, all of Wuxia's resources would inevitably converge upon him. This was the overriding trend. Having grasped the key point, Lin Mo broke into a smile. Seeing that Lin Mo could still smile, Li Jingwu nearly vomited blood from anger. Damn it, this kid. He really doesn't know his place. However, Long Jianjun, Hu Yinwen, Deng Gaoxiang, and a host of other high-ranking officers showed expressions of admiration. A young man facing a grilling from the third most powerful figure in Huaxia could still remain unruffled and even smile. He truly had the guts of a leopard. But they liked it. What the Dragon Corps soldiers needed was the guts of a leopard. In his heart, Long Jianjun had already decided no matter how the leader would deal with Lin Mo later. This kid, he would protect him. The leader looked at Lin Mo, also quite surprised internally. He spoke again. Well, Comrade Lin Mo, do you have an answer? Faced with the leader's repeated question, Lin Mo finally spoke. Leader, I will never be a dove. Oh, the leader was surprised. Are you sure? You want to be a young hawk? However, Lin Mo shook his head. His gaze swept around the room before finally fixing on the leader. But I won't be a hawk either. Because all these damn factions are the products of being behind others and of impotent rage. You little rascal, a glint of sharp light shone in the leader's eyes. You sure have a big mouth. Lin Mo smiled, his confidence growing with every word. I may put it bluntly, but it's the truth. There's no denying that while most people in both factions have different philosophies and political views, they have all dedicated their lives' work to Huaxia's rise. But in the heat of their infighting, many have forgotten that all of this was forced upon us because Huaxia was bullied by foreign enemies, brutally suppressed and blockaded. At the root of it all are two words: being backward. The consequence of being backward is getting beaten. Lin Mo's voice grew more and more resolute. Now carrying Huaxia's future legacy within him, he didn't need to consider any faction at all. Under his efforts, a backward Huaxia would become history. A powerful Huaxia would become the nightmare of all enemy nations. Therefore, the faction that I, Lin Mo, belong to is the only correct faction. The faction that opposes me is the enemy faction, blocking Huaxia's path to rise. I, Lin Mo, have my own path for how to rejuvenate and elevate Huaxia to stand once again at the pinnacle of the world's great powers. I will forge this path step by step. Once Huaxia becomes the sole hegemon of Blue Star, all these factions will naturally be swept into the garbage heap of history. So if you must label me with a faction, then it's the Huaxia faction. The leader uttered three words. What makes you think so? Lin Mo replied with a smile. Because I possess an intellect that surpasses everyone else and a talent that overwhelms them all. Because I alone have the ability to trample countless scientists from Eagle Country underfoot and create epic-defining military technology. The leader laughed. He laughed heartily. Looking at Lin Mo, he said, when one is in a high position, what one fears is not a lack of ambition, but people who only talk big without the ability to put it into practice. Those are the ones who truly harm the country and its people. Lin Mo replied calmly. If even my abilities aren't enough, then no one in Huaxia can do it. The leader ignored Lin Mo's statement and turned to look at Long Jianjun. Commander Long. Long Jianjun stepped forward. Here. How do you evaluate the individual exoskeleton armor developed by Comrade Lin Mo? Long Jianjun thought for a moment before responding firmly, ahead of its time. It can be called the king of land warfare. Good. The leader looked back at Lin Mo and said with a faint smile. The individual exoskeleton armor is hailed as the king of land warfare. Comrade Lin Mo, you are a great contributor to Huaxia. Your merits are undeniable. But modern warfare also depends on the Air Force and the Navy. Being the king of land warfare alone still leaves a very arduous road ahead to realize your declaration. Hearing this, Lin Mo smiled. You're telling a guy with a system cheat that the road ahead is arduous. Leader, do you know how long it took me to develop the complete exoskeleton armor technology? Lin Mo raised a finger. 1 year. As soon as these words were spoken, the entire venue erupted into an uproar. 1 year. Everyone knew Lin Mo was exceptionally brilliant, but they never imagined he could be this prodigious. To develop such epic-defining military technology encompassing over 30 equally groundbreaking subsidiary technologies, Lin Mo had accomplished it in merely 1 year. Observing the profound shock on everyone's faces, Lin Mo chuckled inwardly. He dared not confess that it had actually taken him only 3 months. If the truth were revealed, it might just frighten them into cardiac arrest. He looked at the leader, continuing in his characteristically startling manner. I possess the confidence and, more importantly, the capability. Grant me sufficient resources and adequate authority. Within 3 years, I will ensure China's new generation of fighter jets dominate the skies of the entire Blue Star. Within 5 years, I will ensure China's carrier fleet dominates the oceans of the entire Blue Star. Upon hearing Lin Mo's words, the leader burst into hearty laughter, his mirth echoing throughout the factory complex. Excellent, truly excellent, Comrade Lin Mo. The leader's smile faded as he looked at Lin Mo with solemnity. I understand your intentions, but remember the words spoken before me are a military pledge. Lin Mo smiled without a word. He had already spoken conservatively regarding the 3- and 5-year timelines. If he could secure the highest level of support from China and continuously activate the system's capabilities, how could it possibly require such a long time? The leader smiled and continued, Comrade Lin Mo, your first-class merit is approved. Furthermore, I bestow upon you 2 special authorities. The leader paused, his tone resolute. First, you will receive a copy of all technology-related reports within China. Second, you have the right to mobilize all strategic resources of China, needing only to report back to me. China will provide you with the utmost support. These words stunned everyone present. The leader declared earnestly, my only requirement is this: unleash your intellect that surpasses all others and liberate your talent that overwhelms everyone. Fulfill your ambitions and realize your promises. Comrade Lin Mo, do you have the confidence? Hearing these exceptionally generous terms and privileges, Lin Mo was immensely moved. He had never imagined the leader would grant him such tremendous support. It was as if the entire nation's strength was being marshaled to pave a smooth path for his scientific research career. A surge of heroic pride swelled in Lin Mo's heart. He stated firmly, you treat me as a national stalwart, I shall repay you as one. The leader nodded in satisfaction. Smiling, he asked, Comrade Lin Mo, do you have any other requests that require my assistance? Hearing this, Lin Mo's heart leaped with joy. After all that groundwork, he had finally been waiting for this very question. The requirements for the system upgrade tasks were impossible to fulfill without the backing of China's highest echelons. So Lin Mo spoke. Yes, it concerns the Kunlun exoskeleton armor. The leader inquired with curiosity. Kunlun, is that the name you've given the exoskeleton armor? Yes. The leader was very pleased. Go stay with Gaul and liver 2 Kunluns. This name carries profound meaning. Speak, what is your request? Lin Mo organized his thoughts, articulating the words he had pondered for so long. The Kunlun exoskeleton armor technology is fully mature, ready for mass production and deployment. Furthermore, given the technological and resource barriers involved, even if the Eagles were handed the blueprints intact, they couldn't replicate it within 5 years. Therefore, I wish to declassify the Kunlun exoskeleton armor, to conduct a live combat demonstration for all Dragon Army soldiers, and formally announce it to all Chinese citizens. The leader was slightly surprised. He had anticipated different requests, not this one. What is your reasoning? Lin Mo could not reveal his true motives, so he offered a plausible excuse. Please forgive me, leader. I am not only a young man, but also one filled with fervor. In my heart, besides the greater good of the nation, there is also personal desire. If the technological products I develop are perpetually shelved by the state, as mere technical reserves, I will quickly lose the motivation to continue my research. Lin Mo stated with conviction, as the ancient Chinese saying goes, wealth without honor is like a brocade coat worn at night. My greatest wish is for the cutting-edge technology one create to gain recognition from the Chinese people and to deter those external forces hostile to China. To me, that is the greatest spiritual encouragement. Lin Mo paused, then added with a smile, in the vernacular of our Chinese youth, it's about showing off feels awesome once, and showing off continuously feels awesome forever. Just like today, our project team successfully pulled off a major show-off in front of the leader and received such generous treatment. I believe everyone feels absolutely thrilled inside. But it's not enough, we need more. As Lin Mo uttered these words, the entire venue erupted in laughter. Even the leader couldn't help but laugh heartily. You rascal. Indeed, who can expect a mere 21-year-old to have the same mindset as us old folks? The leader waved his hand grandly. Comrade Lin Mo, your request is granted. You are a soldier of China. Consult with General Long Jianjun regarding the specific implementation. Subsequently, after discussions among the group, it was decided that the exoskeleton armor would participate in the Dragon Army Festival's military exercises in an offensive-defensive battle format the day after tomorrow. Simultaneously, a combat promotional video would be produced based on the exercise, formally unveiling the exoskeleton armor to the public. Lin Mo was ecstatic. Under such comprehensive public exposure, it should surely be enough to complete the system upgrade task. The group chatted for a while longer, and the inspection team also reviewed the parameters from the comprehensive tests. Finally, as they prepared to leave, the leader seemed to recall something. Smiling at Lin Mo, he said, Comrade Lin Mo, your answer to the previous question was excellent. Regarding that question, I also have my own answer. The leader swept his gaze across all the senior generals, his authoritative presence radiating outward. I too am a member of the Chinese faction. Who would have thought I'd encounter a kindred spirit here? As these words were spoken, at the rear of the formation, Peng Hao's face turned deathly pale, drained of all color. Time passed swiftly. On the day of the Dragon Army Festival at 5:30 in the morning, the sky was just beginning to lighten. At the army barracks, a shrill reveille sounded. A piercing whistle for waking up rang out. Quick, quick, quick. Fallen immediately. Fallen immediately. Proceed to the training ground. All the Dragon Army soldiers of the tank company swiftly got out of bed, deftly putting on their camouflage uniforms while whispering to each other. Who is our opponent for this year's actual combat exercise? No idea. Who knows what unit it is? I heard yesterday that there are 8 companies on our side, including a special operations reconnaissance company. It said they are all the most elite companies of the Dragon Army. By the way, the commander of that special operations reconnaissance company is Old A. A collective gasp filled the barracks. It was Old A's unit, the Ace Special Operations Force that only selects all-around warrior kings. With this setup, it can't be that we're going up against a division's worth of troops, right? It's not impossible. Haha, then we have to make this one count. Let's crush all those softies from the opposing division. What do you think our kill ratio will be this time? At least 5-1. Damn, you're way too timid. At least 2-0-1. It'd be good if they eliminate 20 of them for every one of us. In less than 5 minutes, the soldiers of the 3rd Tank Company had assembled, reporting to the company commander. The entire company of 60 men and 15 tanks is fully assembled. Awaiting orders. Move out. Proceed to the exercise area. Yes, sir. At the actual combat exercise area soon after all participating units had arrived. The military equipment they carried was neatly arrayed. There were 150 Type 04A1 armored infantry fighting vehicles and 30 Type 99A1 heavy tanks. There were 5 WZ-1 armed helicopters, 5 HQ-10 heavy anti-tank missile launchers, along with self-propelled howitzers, modular rocket launchers, and self-propelled anti-aircraft guns. And also the communication intelligence jamming and anti-jamming military equipment of the informationized warfare units. Plus the Special Forces Company led by Old A comprising 33 all-around warrior kings. Seeing such a grand formation, the Dragon Army soldiers participating in the exercise were secretly astounded. This was practically an understrength heavy combined arms brigade. These military forces were more than sufficient to annihilate the entire armed forces of a small nation. They wondered what kind of opponent could deserve such a luxurious configuration. Everyone was raring to go. Their anticipation for the upcoming actual combat exercise grew even stronger. As the Red Force attacking this time, they had to minimize the loss ratio and obliterate the Blue Force so completely they wouldn't even recognize their own grandmother. At that moment, a voice came over the loudspeaker from the operations command. All companies take your positions immediately. Our side is the defending Blue Force. The objective is to defend our operations command post at all costs. After hearing the operational deployment, everyone was stunned. What? They were the Blue Force. And the objective was to defend the command post. What kind of opponent was this? Could it be a full-force pincer attack by 2 divisions? Half an hour later at the Jury base of the Northwest Military Region. In the All-Army Actual Combat Exercise Area, the observer units from the 4 major military regions of the Dragon Army, East, Southwest, and North, had completed their entry and were arriving at their designated positions. Each area was equipped with a large screen and 2 large speakers providing real-time broadcasts of the combat exercise situation. Meanwhile, at the headquarters of each major military region, Dragon Army soldiers who could not attend the live observation were organized in playgrounds or large conference rooms to watch the live situation via satellite television. Oh my God, is this year's grand exercise this massive? Look at the Blue Forces equipment. TSK TISK, all the most cutting-edge Army gear. Looks like the Red Force is in for it. On the southern side, on a 30-meter-high observation platform overlooking the entire exercise area, dozens of high-ranking Dragon Army officers were seated. To the left front was a giant LED display screen spliced together from dozens of smaller screens divided into 4 sections. Once the exercise began, it would provide real-time tracking of various areas of the combat exercise. Before long, accompanied by numerous senior generals, several elderly men ascended the observation platform. They were some of China's top leaders. All the high-ranking Dragon Army officers stood up and saluted. Greetings, chiefs. The leaders proceeded to the front seats and sat down according to precedence. The senior generals behind them also took their seats. The commentator for this actual combat exercise was Chief of Staff Huang, a 2-star general from the Supreme Military Command. He first requested permission from the leaders. Upon receiving approval, he quickly stepped in front of the giant screen. All Dragon Army soldiers. I will be the commentator for this actual combat grand exercise. First, let's look at our defensive Blue Force. The Blue Force is composed of elite ace companies from various major military regions. There are a total of 5 mechanized infantry companies, 2 tank companies, 1 artillery company, and 1 special operations reconnaissance company. They have 30 Type 99A1 heavy tanks and 150 Type 04A1 armored infantry fighting vehicles. It took Chief of Staff Huang about 10 minutes to finish introducing the extremely elite Blue Force. In short, it was comparable to an understrength heavy combined arms brigade. After a brief pause, Chief of Staff Huang continued his introduction. Our Red Force is the first combat squad of the Dragon Fong Special Operations Unit from the Supreme Military Command, totaling 10 personnel. Their weapon and equipment is the Kunlun Individual Power Exoskeleton Armor. The introduction for both sides is complete. There are 15 minutes remaining before the exercise begins. A wave of shock swept through all the Dragon Army soldiers. They wondered if they had misheard. The Red Force had only a 10-man special operations squad. Their only equipment was a single individual exoskeleton armor. Was this a joke? Just last month, China had only just unveiled this exoskeleton armor individual combat equipment. But how much time had passed? It seemed like less than a month. And now it was being used for an actual combat exercise. Moreover, it was being pitted against an ace elite force comparable to a heavy combined arms brigade during such a significant event as the All-Army Actual Combat Grand Exercise for the Dragon Army Festival. The vast majority of Dragon Army soldiers thought the generals above must have gone mad. It was utterly preposterous. On the observation platform, someone spoke with a smile. "You're the only one who's seen this exoskeleton armor in advance. Why don't you tell us all about it?" The leader chuckled and said spoilers would ruin the fun. "By the way, where is Comrade Lin Mo?" The Army Commander-in-Chief Long Jianjun replied, "Comrade Lin Mo is at the Red Force Command Post." The Red Force Command Post. The leaders were curious. Does a 10-man squad even need a dedicated command post? Long Jianjun said helplessly. Comrade Lin Mo said that no one understands the combat mode of the exoskeleton armor better than him. If he doesn't command, the armor's full performance won't be unleashed. At that moment, the large screen began displaying the scene inside the Red Force Command Post. 10 Special Forces soldiers clad in matte black scythe-looking individual exoskeleton armor came into everyone's view. They were currently listening to a young man in Dragon Army combat uniform as he issued operational orders. Number 234. Present. Your 3 main tasks are to attract enemy fire. I've made special modifications to your exoskeleton armor. The configured firepower is 5 times greater than standard. The armor is equipped with an anti-stealth system, so you don't have to worry about being locked onto by those self-propelled artillery pieces. The only thing you need to be careful of is the armed helicopters. Therefore, your primary target is to annihilate the enemy's aerial forces. Do you understand? Roger. Lin Mo then looked at the others. Number 5-6. Your task is simple. Use the long-range targeting system to snipe the enemy's key ground targets with high-energy laser cannons. Number 7-8. You will conduct flanking reconnaissance from the enemy's left and right flanks, disrupting their deployment while locating their operational command post. You must pay attention to kiting. Yes, sir. Finally, Lin Mo looked at Captain Lu Zhihui, who was designated as number 1. Captain Lu, you are the most familiar with this set of armor, so your task is the most arduous. Number 1910. Present. Your mission is decapitation. After the battlefield is thrown into chaos, seize the opportunity and launch a full-speed assault on the enemy's operational command post. If there's no chance to capture the Blue Force's overall commander alive, eliminate them all. Lu Zhihui and his 2 most elite warrior kings responded with excitement. Yes, sir. Lin Mo smiled and said, everyone relax. You've already spent a whole day familiarizing yourselves with the exoskeleton armor yesterday, so you should know its power by now. The enemy may seem numerous, but they are just a rabble. Even if you don't use tactics, you can still bulldoze right through them. However, since today is the Dragon Army Festival, the higher-ups have given specific instructions, so we still need to cooperate and make it as spectacular as possible. Hearing this, the 10 Special Forces soldiers all broke into laughter. Lu Zhihui chuckled and said, against Chief Engineer Lin's exoskeleton armor, sheer numbers are completely useless. Let's go. Lin Mo said, Red Force will be victorious. Victory, the 10 men chorused. On the other side, at the Blue Force position inside an all-terrain vehicle of the logistics support unit, the Blue Force commanders were huddled in intense discussion around a sand table and display screens. Gentlemen, I've just received news. Our Red Force opponent this time is very different from before. The overall commander of the Blue Force was the brigade commander of an ace heavy combined arms brigade from the Northern Military Region's ground forces, a renowned ace senior colonel who had risen through the ranks on merit. He said gravely, the Red Force has only 10 men. Their only weapon and equipment is a single individual exoskeleton armor. The commanders present were first stunned, then furrowed their brows. They were all battle-hardened frontline officers and naturally wouldn't foolishly believe that these 10 men would be easy to deal with. Since this actual combat exercise had been arranged in the understanding of the Dragon Army High Command, these 10 men were fully capable of matching the Blue Force, which was composed of their ace elite units. The key factor was the combat equipment name they were hearing for the first time in actual combat, the individual exoskeleton armor. Regardless, there are only 10 of them. The Blue Force overall commander said solemnly, but we must be on the highest alert. The enemy has insufficient troops, practically none at all. Yet the Dragon Army High Command believes they can fight us, which fully demonstrates that their mobility is extremely high and their assault capability is extremely strong. Therefore, for this operation, we must plan meticulously and strive for certain victory. The Blue Force commanders conferred intensively. Within 10 minutes, they finalized the operational deployment. First and foremost, they would set up 2 fake command posts. One as a decoy and the other as a secondary command post directing 2 infantry companies. The main command post would remain in this all-terrain vehicle. An ordinary person would never guess that the Blue Force's operational command post was a constantly moving logistics all-terrain vehicle. Afterwards, the Blue Force also made specific operational deployments for each company. In the forest where the Blue Force's main camp was located, they established a full 5 lines of defense. No matter what, the Red Force only has 10 men. Even if they're formidable, how formidable can they be? Those self-propelled artillery pieces alone will give them a hard time. Besides, we have 5 lines of defense. If they can break through our first line of defense, that would already make them 10 formidable men. The Blue Force overall commander said with a smile, but even a lion must use its full strength when hunting a rabbit. We don't just want to win, we want to win brilliantly. Keep the loss ratio to a minimum, preferably capture a few alive, to show the bigwigs upstairs what it truly means to be China's ace elite. The other commanders responded with smiles. Absolutely. Beat them 0-1-0. 15 minutes passed quickly. A broadcast voice came through. The actual combat exercise is about to begin. Exercise requirements. If the Blue Force's overall operations command post is destroyed, the Red Force wins. If the Red Force is completely annihilated or fails to attack the Blue Force's main camp within 10 minutes, the Blue Force wins. 3, 2, 1. Red Force commenced the attack immediately. All the watching Dragon Army soldiers stared at the large screens. They were all very eager to see the performance of the 10 Red Force Special Forces soldiers. For the Dragon Army High Command to arrange such an actual combat exercise during this major army-wide event, they must have had full confidence in the exoskeleton armor. Even if the Red Force couldn't win, they would certainly cause immense trouble for the Blue Force. It all depended on just how powerful this individual combat exoskeleton armor really was. At that moment, on the various large screens, 3 figures in matte black armor appeared before the cameras. Their cool sci-fi appearance instantly captivated the eyes of all the Dragon Army soldiers.